Hey,
Good enough.
good man.
Oops. YouTube keeps sending me messages saying I am now a YouTube partner. I have no idea what that even means.
Well,
Does that mean I get a cut of the money?
I don't know.
Or am I a silent partner?
Well, even the silent partner's going to cut his money.
I was looking at my analytics.
Don't do that. That makes you crazy when you look at that stuff. I'm telling you.
Yeah, well, the thing is, where's it at here? There's a place here. I probably won't be able to find it now. I only find stuff once. Then I can't find it ever again.
I know what you're saying. I'm still looking for a picture.
Anyway, here's like the top four, the top 10. Here's the top four. And what are they? Read them off. Right there. Oh, damn it. Here they are. There's the top 10.
Okay.
Starts at the very top. Number 1, Villages News.
Right.
Number 2, Villages News. Number 3, top 10 things we dislike about everybody loves hate.
Huh.
Number 4, Villages News. Number 5, Villages News. Number 6, my birthday. Number 7, the sinkhole update thing that I threw out there. And then the Hurricane Are You Ready is that one. And then the Villages Orange Blossom is that one. And out of all of them, Porch Settin came in last.
Really?
Only one.
Wow.
Which shows me that the average person does not watch this. Regardless of what people say, that's what I'm looking at right there.
Okay.
The top 10 right there.
That's why I said don't look at the analytics. They make you crazy.
It does make me crazy because
Yeah.
I
But
want
this is live. It doesn't.
Oh,
It doesn't
I
require
forgot I'm live.
Yeah, you are. It doesn't require a whole lot of work, and we kind of like doing it. So don't look at the analytics. Well, guys, you can tell we survived. That's why they call this the bubble. We didn't have any problems from the storm at all. I guess they're really having it hard up north. But like it's really hard to when the storm comes in. It's hard to track it very close. And I said they do the best they can, and we were in the cone of concern.
I wasn't real concerned about it because when they started talking about we was here during Irma, and that's what I'm comparing things to. This was a direct hit from Irma.
Yeah.
It hit Tampa at a Category 4. So I figured by the time I got here, that's going to be the worst we'll see. I did lose some shingles, but that was it. So when they talked about this hurricane hitting further north up there somewhere, I didn't really worry about it too much. But I also know, being around here, we've heard about the hurricane wobble 100 times.
Yes. So you never want to.
So you never know. So we kept an eye on it, and I got some video in there. I may share it with you, may not. It's not a big thing. I thought you guys might be interested. I edited videos late last night for the news. And so before I went to bed, about 2 or 2:30 in the morning, I went outside with the camera and I just videoed what it looked like. And then when I got out of bed this morning at 9:30, I think, I went outside and videoed 2 minutes worth of stuff, show you what it looked like. So that was it.
Yeah, and I was up at 5, and we had some considerable wind.
And some rain.
But nothing, nothing.
I don't know what it did last night, but by looking at the ground and everything, it saturated. Looks like we did get, I won't say a lot of hard rain, but we must have got a lot of consistent rain.
That's what it was. I never seen it rain hard here, but it was consistent. But yeah, we dodged the bullet again, and we're thankful. Like I said, there's some people.
I ain't thankful. I kicked them things in the ass. They know better than to come around here and dick with me.
Well, we don't have to. We're 75 miles from the coast here. We're kind of in the middle of the state, a little to the west of the middle, but we don't have to worry about the storm surge because we don't have water that close. And basically, wind damage is something and flooding is something that most people worry about in the middle area. and we didn't have a lot of rain or wind. So like I said, we dodged the bullet. I have seen some of the news reports up north, and the flooding from Tampa all the way up. The flooding is bad.
Where did we go 2 or 3 times and spent the night in our camper? Perry, Florida. We're right there. We spent there at KOA campground 2 or 3 times, and I guess Perry's got hammered bad.
Yeah, they were showing the flooding there a while ago on the news. So,
and I know that Cedar Key, I think, is another one.
Yeah, that's where it was supposed to come inland. It was Cedar Key, because that's where Jim Cantori went. He always goes to the bad spot, and that's a little to the west and north of us. But it's we're thankful. That's all I can say. We're thankful.
Kelly R. says windy here and looks like rain here soon in Port St. I never know how to pronounce that. Lucia. I don't know, but anyway, Port St. Lucie is what I always called it.
Yeah.
So hang in there. It's already passed. It's way up to the Panhandle now. It'll be in Georgia soon.
Yeah.
And then it'll get up in there and it'll clean out all the moonshine stills, and then it'll move on out.
Oh, and if any of the fam is watching, we're fine. Don't worry. We're just fine. And like I said, that's why they call this the bubble. We don't have to worry about too much here.
Never lost any electricity.
I didn't even lose the blooms off my flowers. I thought that was,
Well, this is wind protected back here.
Yeah, but like I said, the ones out front the same way. That hibiscus out there started blooming, and I thought, oh God, it's got 1,000 buds on it, and they'll all be gone.
Well, there ain't none on it now. I went and looked.
Oh yeah. Oh well, that's what I was afraid of.
The wind will strip things and actually burn things. If you got sensitive flowers like the sun, a hot sun will actually burn them and kill them. The wind actually, it's weird, does the same thing. It's a friction. The wind will blow so hard during a hurricane, it will actually burn the leaves of flowers and plants and may not kill them, but it'll stun them for a while.
Yeah. Keith Cuthbert says that his daughter lives in LaBelle South, and they are subscribed, and they love Porch Settin.
Cool.
And your news.
And my what?
Your news. Everybody loves the news.
Everybody likes the news.
Yeah.
As long as they keep watching, I'll keep doing. But when the things start dwindling off, I'll tell you one of them I'm looking at real serious about stopping. The top 10. This last top 10 has been up now for 3 or 4 days. And it's only got like 1.2 thousand views. I mean, that's like nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to waste everybody's time with it. I got 2 more top 10s I got to edit. After that, I'm going to keep watching them, and it's very possible we may not do anymore.
Yeah. And Christine says she has friends in Tallahassee, and they have power there.
We never lost power.
Oh, he says they have lost power there.
Who has?
In Tallahassee. Yeah, it's.
That's where the hurricane's at right now.
Yeah, in that area. And I said,
see, the thing on the news said today, they were expecting it to go into, I don't know what you call that area there, where it kind of
the bend.
It was expected to go into there and then go on up into Georgia and out. And then he said it wobbled. You're going to hear that a lot down here if you're new. It wobbled more to the left, to the west.
Yeah.
And it went into Tallahassee. And they said Tallahassee really wasn't prepared for it because all this time they never predicted for it to ever go up there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah. And I said, I know Crystal River was got a lot of flood. They showed Tarpon Springs had a lot of flooding, and those are 2 of my favorite places. But they're near the water, and so you got to expect some of that. But we're fortunate here. We are.
Expect your insurance rates to rise soon.
No, I don't think there was a devastation. Although it was considered a 4 when it hit land this morning. It had went all the way to a 4, and they were saying it was going to be a 3, but the wind got high enough. But the devastation along there wasn't as bad as what it was in the southern part of Florida last year with those storms, because I think those storms lingered. This was a quick storm. Like I said, it just about petered out here altogether. But it was a very quick storm, and then it was just kind of hit and miss, and it kept going. So.
Thanks, Kelly. She said it's pronounced Lucy.
Okay.
I've heard it both ways, and I don't know who's right or who's wrong. I'm just trying to figure it all out. So if it's, you live there, so if it's Lucy, that's what I'll call it. That's what I've always called it. Jerry says it's called Roosy.
Oh, what?
Roosy. Roosy.
Okay.
You got some explaining to do.
Yeah, that's what Gringo just said.
Oh. Ontario, but our daughter lives. Oh, you already said that.
Yeah. Life with Tammy and Dean, it says, looks like Perry got hit pretty hard. Yeah, I said, on what we've seen of it, I said, they just showed clips there, and it was ongoing a little bit ago. So
You read that? So Tallahassee's lost power.
yeah.
But I will say one thing about the electric company here. I mean, every hurricane, maybe they're just used to it and I'm not. I don't know. But it seems like long before the hurricane hits, when they know it's coming, man, the electric companies are on Johnny on the spot. They got 100,000 vehicles, it seems like, lined up everywhere for anything
Last
that
night,
happens.
the last time I heard them talking about it, because they've got a staging area here in Sumter County. And I said, it's just outside the villages here, because I know they put some of them up in the Brownwood Hotel. But they had 40,000 trucks from Duke Energy. And that was they were getting them from all over the country. They were coming from the Midwest here. They were coming from every state imaginable to stage here. And so I'm sure they're on their way up to the northern counties right now. But if you could just see that. And somebody did take a drone picture. Last time we had a hurricane, they took a drone picture of all the trucks out there. And it is just unbelievable. We thank them so much because it's nice that they're there. Our power lines are all underground here. So we never worry about that much. The last hurricane, through few hurricanes we've had, we have lost no power at all. No TV. And I said it's because everything.
We do keep everything charged up, though, just in case. I mean, that's the whole thing. Just in case. You got to play what I call the what if game. What if power goes out? Well, I've already explained to you in a video what we do. Before she went to bed last night, she sticks her head in my office again, says, make sure everything's charged. Like I ain't already done that.
What there's times when you don't.
So anyway, yeah, you always be prepared for the things that probably won't happen. But what if they do? That's why you have fire insurance on your house. The odds are you're never going to have a fire, but what if you do?
Right. And it doesn't hurt to be prepared. I mean, what else have we got to do, right?
I come real close about 2 days ago, jumping in the camper and taking off.
Well,
I really did.
I would really like to be up there this weekend, but TR Maine says, will you guys be around in October? So TR Maine said, are you guys going to be around in October? We're visiting the villages then. Maybe.
I can't say,
We haven't got out of here yet.
Yeah, I haven't went anywhere this summer. Usually, at least for a couple weeks anyway. Usually we've been to Indiana by now. And because they can only take me for about 2 weeks, then I got to leave. Yeah. Because I harass the grandkids and then my boy, he doesn't like it when I'm around because I tell him everything he does wrong, and you know how it goes.
Yeah. No, we just haven't had a chance, and it's been too hot.
Kelly says, did you get your plants back outside? The truth is, Kelly, last night I went out about 2:02 in the morning. I knew that's about the time the hurricane was supposed to be in this area, and I was going to put the plants in. I had some already in the garage, the heavier ones that she's got on them real roller things. But I was going to put the last ones in after I went outside and seen what was going on. I thought, I just tuck them over in the corner where the porch is at. That corner right there is protected from the wind.
Yeah.
And I just stacked them all in there and said, that's where I'm going to leave them. And that's where I left them. And they're still out there. So they didn't go anywhere. And the ones back here on the back porch, they weigh like 100 pounds a piece. And I'm not moving them anyway.
They're big cement pods, though. Elaine says, hi from New Jersey.
But can I turn that around? Let me show you something real quick, if I can. How do you turn this thing around? I forget. Oh, there's a button right there. There it is. Hold on a minute. Oh, that's outside. You don't want to see outside.
What did you want to show?
Yeah, I'm going to turn. Well, I want to show. Right there. The barbecue grill is still in here.
Yeah, because I couldn't get it out. I took the plants out, but I couldn't take the grill out. So.
Yeah, I brought it in.
Show my pretty flowers. Show my pretty flowers that bloomed. The yellow one isn't that tall, so you can't see that. But
Yeah, one flower. There you go.
No, there's the red one here and the orange one there.
Yeah, there you go.
You can't see the yellow.
That's our big flower thing. This is what happens when you come to Florida. You're so used to things blooming up north that down here they don't bloom. So when they do bloom, oh, it's a party.
Oh God.
Oh, look, the flower blooms.
They look pretty. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Elaine Scurry says, hi from New Jersey. Glad you guys are safe. Trucks from New York going to Florida to help. Heard next storm name on the list is Jose.
The what?
The next storm on the list name is Jose.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad they're getting out of the eyes, really. Idalia, they said
Did you ever notice that even the names of hurricanes have to be politically correct? We are way off base in this country anymore. Well, you got to have so many. I can remember they called hurricanes, and there was a big deal about that, saying, well, how come they don't call them a hurricane? I remember that.
Yeah, and what was the answer?
They just started naming them back and forth. And then they notice the names. You have Greek names, you'll have, I'll call American names, you have Spanish names. I mean, they make sure it's all politically correct.
Okay, well, the next one's supposed to be Jose, is what she says, so can't prove it by me.
That's because Puerto Rico.
Well, I said last year was, Ian and what was the other one? They were both I names. And then Idalia was this one. So I'm glad they're out of the I's and into the J's. So
I think names are stupid. It's just a hurricane.
Sherry Campbell says, so glad to see Mr. Skip and Miss Sue safe. They just announced on TV that Cedar Key has 100 people stranded. Rescue crews having trouble reaching them. Continued prayers for safety for all. Yes.
Well, that sheriff was from that area said that they were warned 2 days ago. That's a mandatory evacuation up there, but they can't merely make you leave your property.
Yeah.
And he said, those of you that choose not to go, and trust me, there's always these people that they won't go. And he said, just know if the winds are 45 miles an hour and more, we will not be sending the troopers out to help you. You're on your own. And that's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
Once the winds die down, then it depends on the storm surge if they can even get to you. But they will work at getting to you. So.
And they're not going to put their people in jeopardy.
Well, no.
If you didn't want to leave.
It's got to the point anymore that if you want to be stupid, go ahead. It's your right to be stupid, but we're not going to come and get you.
Yeah, well, I understand that.
Hi from Indiana. Living on the Virginia-Tennessee line. Oh.
Sherry Campbell?
Yeah. That's where all the moonshiners are at.
Oh my goodness. Well, Gringo's got approved for his subdivision.
Huh?
Just waiting on his registration. He's trying to get back to the States, but it's a long process. Gringo Loco.
Gringo, just go to Mexico, fly to Mexico, and just walk across the border, and we'll pick you up in a bus and take you wherever you want to go.
Oh, God. Chuck Clavin says, this is the best Villages YouTube video. Seems every week some new resident moves to the V and get the bright idea to start videos. Yeah, it happens.
What?
Every time somebody new moves in, they want to start a YouTube channel to hear. And
that's what's killing my channel.
They all paint a picture of perfection in TV through rose-tinted glasses. And and we got to say this is the best place we found to go. That's why we're here. But it's not Disney. You know, there are things here that you should be aware of.
Those are all sales techniques. They used to call it the bubble. That was a sales technique. The Villages people didn't do that. And then they started saying the golf cart community, that was a sales technique, and that's gone now. Now they call it Florida's friendliest hometown. Once again, that's a sales technique. Nobody else does that. And there's plans in the making. When, I don't know, but I know there's plans in the making of changing it slowly. Going to call it Villages, Florida's healthiest hometown. And so that will be the next one coming around.
Yeah. Sherry, wherever Jim Cantori goes, you can tell that's where his crew goes, and he goes. And it's funny, they've got a really funny video on Facebook about him, and said, what does he do in his downtime when he goes to the beach and people disappear because they think the storm's coming. It's a funny video, I thought. And it's just one of those things. And he got in at Gainesville and went straight to
I'd
Cedar
like to
Key.
have that job.
Yeah.
Hell yes. You kidding me? Ain't nothing better than a good storm. Get your gear on and your microphone. You stand against the wind and goes, well, it's really windy out here right now. He's probably standing in the only spot in whole town that's got water on the ground.
Yeah. Hey, Kevin. Laura says, hey, from suburban Chicago. Glad you're still able to do porch setting. I told you yesterday that we would. I knew hell or high water he was probably going to do this, like it or not.
Actually, we could have done it outside. The temperature outside is not bad.
Yeah.
And I always worry about that overheating. If it overheats, it just shuts off. It's the wind. I got to put the awning out, and the awning won't stay out with this wind. So,
well, and we're supposed to get some more rain when we're not done.
That's why I want to put the awning out.
We actually are under a tornado watch until 3 p.m. Here in this county.
Tornadoes.
Well, I said that's our biggest worry here. It's not the hurricanes; it's the tornadoes that it stirs up.
Tornadoes.
I don't see how you out there.
You have a hurricane that's this big around. It's a tornado at sea, and then you have a tornado.
I don't see you out there with your camera. Oh, Wilmington, North Carolina. Yeah.
You know what they call tornadoes in Indiana, in the Midwest? God's finger.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, I think there's some reasoning in that.
Well, Tom Tomer says rain here through then the night and day tomorrow. Tropical storm and tornado warning through tomorrow here in Wilmington, North Carolina. Yeah, it's going to keep going.
Yeah, I think that's the path it's supposed to take. It and goes up that way.
Yeah, it goes through Georgia and then up the coast.
But you get after effects for a day or two. Like right now, the hurricanes were up in Georgia area, up there somewhere, or close to the Georgia line. And look at our clouds. So you can see the clouds are going the opposite that they always go. They never go that way, but they're going that way. So we're on. Would we be on the backside of the hurricane? We are on the backside.
We're on the back.
But anyway, the backside hurricane, what it does is it sucks up moisture out of the Gulf from the backside and brings it up into the atmosphere. And then so for maybe a day or two after the hurricane passes, we'll continually get rain, which we're still getting. It just got done raining a while ago, but it's not hard to rain. It rains for a while and then quits, and it rains for a while and then quits.
And then actually, we've had worse thunderstorms.
Yeah, it's
than what we've had for this tornado.
This right here is not anything to worry about.
But nice, it never hurts to be prepared because don't let it fool you. Sometimes it could come in and just smash everything. We've not had that happen, but you've seen what happened down south. I mean, Fort Myers and Fort Lauderdale last year, both of them got it, and they were. Oh, the damage was unbelievable. We just been fortunate. They said that's why they call us the bubble. Now we're so far inland that it's usually petered out by the time it gets here. This one I didn't know though.
K Lang ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Mike sent me a picture from, and he's up there where Laura is in Illinois, and he sent me a picture showing what the temperatures are supposed to be for the next week. And I told him, I said, we was waiting for the temperature to go down, but God, that looked cold. Yeah, I mean, he was talking 50s and 60s. The high today was going to be 70, I think, and then 50s and 60s during the week.
That's good.
Well, that's not good for me.
That's good sleeping weather.
Yeah, well.
That's where you go to bed at night and open the windows.
I have to put long pants on and shoes. But 35 below, no, it ain't happening. Sorry, Kay.
Amelia says, is the house okay? Yeah, there's nothing going on. It didn't really amount to anything other than a little bit of wind, and it wasn't even really hard wind. I'd say 40-ish miles per hour wind with a gust here and there.
Yeah.
But it was nothing that I was really worried about. So it's just like kind of like a bad thunderstorm, really.
Yeah, I get up at 5, and I said it was moving the trees around a little bit. So I would think it was around 40 or 30 with that 40 gusts, something like that. But never did get really, really bad. Now, Irma, we watched the trees, the palm trees out front, watched the trees in Irma and watched the wind gusts, and that was scary. I mean, it was almost, the tops of them were almost hitting the ground. They were moving that much.
Did you guys know that? These palm trees will bend a long way.
Yeah.
They don't never break. What happens is the ground is so wet that if it wind keeps blowing it and it bends over, it actually just comes out of the ground because the ground's so wet. But the palm trees themselves don't break. They bend like a rubber band.
And so many of the trees here, they're not, their roots is very shallow. And so it doesn't take much to blow them over. And that's why, even though I said we didn't get much here, I don't know what kind of debris might be on the streets. I don't think a lot, because I'm looking at, the neighbor's got a tree with a couple dead limbs on it and it's still hanging there. So I don't think we got over that 40-mile-an-hour wind. So.
Noah from Staten Island. I guess he's saying hi.
Oh, he said, "Hey, best villages entertainers."
Well, I don't know about being entertainers or not. This is just us.
Yeah, yeah,
you
we're
know,
entertaining.
there's a few YouTubers here that I know, and to them it's an act. They put on an act. We don't. I wouldn't know how to do that anyway. You know,
not a good actor.
I don't know how to lie to people or BS people. I just don't. And I know that that's not popular, but I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, you are a good storyteller, though. I think you're a pretty good storyteller.
People get sick of listening to an old man ramble.
Well,
that's what I keep saying.
You know, I know that there's a couple of YouTube channels that you watch them particularly for that.
It's because it's my personality to do that. My grandfather would tell me stories of World War I and the Germans and some of the stuff that he experienced. I found it fascinating. To him, it may not have been so fascinating because he was there.
Yeah.
He was probably scared, I almost said a bad word, to death. But I found it fascinating. I'd ask him things like, you know, it may sound totally inappropriate, but he was my grandfather. And I'd ask him how he lost his leg. How'd you lose them fingers? You know, things like that. He would tell me these stories, and I found them fascinating. And I think that carried over to me.
Yeah.
I tell stories about things that I find kind of stupid, but I know that some people don't know anything about it, and so they might find it interesting. So I just ramble on, and I know that I got to stop doing that, because when you ramble, you lose viewers.
Yeah. Well, sometimes when you ramble, you're a totally different story.
Yeah. Well, the storytelling that I have, I'll say scripted, that I have in my mind, exactly what I want to do, all them stories are on Patreon. You don't see any of them here.
No.
I've got stories about the day that we pulled them kids out of that car that died. I got stories about, the latest story I just put up about a week ago is a life story of Mickey Mantle. It's really good. I thought I did a good job on it.
No, I've not seen that.
It's on Patreon.
I'm not on Patreon.
All that stuff's on Patreon. You'll not see it on YouTube.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to join Patreon.
You have to join Patreon. It's $2 for God's sake. You spend more than that hanging around a grocery store.
Oh, I don't want to pay you anything.
I can't gift Patreon. I don't know why. I even sent him an email saying, how come I can't gift Patreon stuff to friends of mine? I mean, like say, I buy a $2 membership and then give it to somebody. I can't even do that on Patreon. It's something that they don't offer.
You can do that on members,
no,
but not Patreon.
They've even sent me back saying it's something that's in the pipeline, but they don't have it there for me to do that yet.
Well, maybe that's what they were trying to tell you a while ago.
Who was trying to tell me what?
YouTube said that
that's YouTube, not Patreon.
Okay, are they separate? I don't know this stuff, and you do this. I don't. All I do is sit and talk.
Well, if it was the same thing, wouldn't I just say YouTube?
Well, I know you've got YouTube members.
I do have YouTube members, and on YouTube members, it's totally different also. But I can do things on YouTube. See, on YouTube members, I can do this stuff, and I do put some of the things that's on Patreon. I also put on YouTube members. It's things for members only. You got to give them something different. That's what they're paying for. And if YouTube people, well, I'll tell you one real quick. When you had that wreck and totaled the car out, that's on Patreon. You've never seen it anywhere else. Nobody will see it except Patreon people. So,
well, don't ever do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll explain later. Laura says one of her friends who lives near 466 was pretty nervous on Monday and Tuesday. Yeah. You know, leading up to the hurricane, it's always so stressful because you don't know what's going to happen. And every one of them is different. Every hurricane's different. And
WrestleMania is here.
Oh, hey, wrestler. But like I said, leading out, and that's why I just kept thinking all day yesterday. I just wanted to get it over with. And then they said we were supposed to start getting rain yesterday, and it did. Yesterday afternoon we got a little bit of rain, but then it quit. And I thought, well, gee, and I went to bed. There wasn't any rain going on when I went to bed, and then it started again, but it wasn't even enough that you could hear it. And usually, you can hear rain, but there wasn't even enough to hear it.
That's something else I've noticed. Well, I should say I've noticed, but when we've got this house, there must be something to it the way these houses are built. Because when it rains really hard, I don't hear it hitting the roof at all.
No.
But what I do hear once in a while, because my office is in there next to where the downspout comes down, and I hear the water coming down the downspout and hitting the bottom. That's all I hear. It's just amazing how quiet they are. And by the way, there have been some questions. I got emails in there. Let me answer them now in case they're watching. That all homes in the villages, except maybe the historical area, and I can't speak for that area, but all homes in the villages are built to hurricane standards. They're not just a normal house like in Lady Lake or Wildwood where you hear about roofs being blown off the house and all that. These houses are built to hurricane standards, and that's totally different. That's why sometimes they have to enforce deed restrictions, because some deed restrictions is directly tied to hurricane standard rules, such as yard decorations. You think they really give a damn whether you stick something in your yard to make it look good? They don't care, but hurricane standards does, and they have to enforce that. So I just want to make that clear.
Richard Sanders says hello from Georgia. Just got back from checking his still.
From checking what?
His still.
Oh, did you bring me anything?
Sorry, Richard. Oh. Brandy said they just had a tornado in Inverness. So, yeah, like I said, the tornado warnings last until 3 p.m., or that's what they're saying right now. So, yeah, it's something you got to think about. I said, because the hurricanes stir up a lot of wind, and inland like we are, I said, that's where the tornadoes come from. And the only big damage I've ever seen here was from a tornado, not from a hurricane. And, Phyllis Del Guidici says, I'm so glad you're both okay. I'm in North Carolina. Hopefully it won't be bad at all. Well, I think it's down to a category 1 now. And I said, by the time they get to you, I'm hoping it's less than that and starts heading out. Going to head out to the water eventually. I don't know how far up Carolina it's going to go, but eventually it's going to head out toward the water. So hopefully you'll be fine.
Hi, Laura. You still live up there in that disgusting city? Chicago. And I'm not just saying that for political reasons. I thought that Chicago was disgusting 30 years ago when I had to go up there in my semi-truck. And anytime we travel, that's the one city that I look at figuring, is there some way I can go around this thing?
But she's not in Chicago.
Well, to make a difference.
Well, yes, it does. The suburbs are a lot bigger.
I know. Chicago's like this big. But Chicago area is like this big. So no matter where you go, you either go right in the suburbs where everybody else is at. And I just don't like it.
She's up there where Mikey's at.
Where?
Where Mike's at.
That's not even Chicago.
Rockford.
That's Rockford, Illinois.
Well, that's why I said she's not in Chicago, but it's like us saying Indianapolis.
She's always told me she was in Chicago.
Well, we never lived in Indianapolis.
Right there. Hello from suburban Chicago.
Suburban Chicago.
Rockford's a whole nother town.
Well,
that's not even suburban Chicago.
That's for them to deal with, not me.
This is why I never took directions from females when driving a semi-truck.
Oh, yeah, I've seen you give directions.
When I had my truck, everything was road maps, phone calls. How do I get there? And you trust them to tell you the right way. Yeah. Let me tell you a little story real quick. I'm going to Chicago, going to a place I've never been to before, and I had something like a 2 o'clock in the morning delivery time. So I get up there somewhere at a truck stop somewhere, and you have to go inside and use your money, and you made long distance phone calls to call these people to get directions. So I call and get directions. Some lady answers the phone, and I told her, I said, I got this load of whatever. Here's where I'm at. Give me directions how to get there. So she gives them to me, and I'm writing them down. So I get up there, following the directions right to a T. Right before I got to the warehouse, that's where it started. There was a 10-foot bridge right there. I could see where I needed to go, but I couldn't get there. And I also couldn't hardly make a U-turn because it was a narrow road with street parking. That's why I hate street parking to this day. Cars on both sides of the road. And so I called the lady up. I said, I can't get there this way. She said, well, yeah, you can. She says, I come to work that way every day. I said, ma'am, there's a 10-foot bridge right here. Oh, she said, you know, you're right. I never thought about that.
Okay. But Del McDermott says at 3 a.m. he took the dog out and it was raining very slightly. Yeah, it wasn't doing much until, like I said, about it rained a little bit yesterday evening, and then it quit, and then it rained kind of consistently. It was a light rain all evening, and then the wind started about, I don't know, you say about 2?
I went outside about 2 or 2:30, I think, and it was windy, but I mean, it was nothing. But it was windier than this.
Yeah. Well, and at 5, I said I looked out the front door, opened the front door to see what was going on, and I said it was blowing, like I said, maybe 30, 40 mile an hour consistently.
Let me turn this around so you can kind of see what the wind's doing right now. It's not really doing much of anything. You have to look at palm trees here. That's how you can tell about the wind. See that? Not a big deal.
Yeah.
But if you notice the clouds, though, it's very gray, very cloudy. We're on the back side of it, but we'll get this for at least another day.
Well, and if they're in a tornado in Inverness, we're not that far away from Inverness. I think it's on north of us.
There.
Okay. Jay says hello from St. Louis. Well, hello, Jay. Yeah, we're doing great. Like I said,
Ford guy.
can't tell you enough how glad we are that we're not in a problem. Wrestler says Skip has more wind after a plate full of beans than this hurricane had in the village.
That is true.
It's true. And thank you, Kevin. We're glad it wasn't much either. So I mean, just think of the people that's in the path and that's having to go through all the hardships. They'd have to put everything back together afterwards.
Phyllis D. Guidance just saw Cedar Key on the news. They got hit very hard. Yeah, the problem with Cedar Key wasn't really the wind. It's the storm surge. I think that area right there is getting the largest storm surge in their history. They don't generally get hit by anything. And I think I saw on TV where they were expecting as high as a 17-foot storm surge. That means anybody along the beach, anybody, I don't care who you are, you're going to lose it. The water's going to end up getting in that house, and it's going to be a total destruction. And anybody that hung around, even if you're on the 3rd and 4th floor, you shouldn't even really be there because those houses become unstable. If I knew that there was a 17-foot storm surge coming in an area that I lived in, I'd be gone. I'm not even going to take the chance.
Yeah. Oh, and then something that a lot of people don't think about, and you all know I walk early in the morning. I walk a lot, and after the last hurricane, the day after, the hurricane was gone, and I walked that morning, and I was just shocked at how many little critters that I seen. There was snakes, and they'd been run over by cars because they come out because the water was so high. They'd come out, and they were out on the roadways, and I said they'd gotten hit, so I didn't have to worry about them. They were dead. But I just was surprised at how many I saw. Didn't dawn on me until afterwards that, yeah, that happens when it rains that much. So be careful if you're out.
By the way, I got an email from somebody that's here now. And I never answered it because I knew the hurricane was coming, wanting to know if we could do a meet and greet this week. And so, like I said, I didn't answer it because I wasn't sure about the hurricane, what was going to happen. Because, like the last time we decided to go out, remember, we was having a Patreon lunch, I think, and where we had reservations. They closed the restaurant down. We all show up for the lunch, and the restaurant's closed.
Yeah.
That was embarrassing.
And I've got one tomorrow. Mark Schutz says, hi, Skip and Sue. Enjoy your show. Currently sitting in Brownwood Hotel. Was supposed to close on our new house today, but it was postponed until tomorrow due to the storm.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
they do here. That's why I put them out, and I'm not putting them out because I'm looking for a video. I put a lot of short videos out for information for people that don't live here, that don't know things. Like if it, like reason I put it out yesterday, or was it yesterday? Anyway, is this is the first hurricane for a lot of people, and so I know what it was like. So I was just kind of putting things out there to give them an idea of things you can do. Don't freak out because you're going to hear things like the wobble and things like that. So
Yeah.
don't worry about it yet. No matter what these news reports around here, they get dramatic. They're almost like I don't know. They just like, well, this is going to be the worst hurricane in the century. But the truth of it is, it may be, but it only hits this much of Florida. The rest of Florida is fine. But then they show the computer generated thing. Here's the path of the hurricane. They don't
Yeah.
know where it's going to go.
Oh, and something I did want to tell you, and it didn't dawn on me until I heard somebody else say it the other day. But I said, when a storm comes up, you always want to make sure that there's a shelter in your area. If you have to go to a shelter, if you have a pet, find out where the shelters that take pets are, because not all of them do. And we actually have a disability shelter here. It's in Wildwood at the Wildwood Community
Yeah, I
Center.
can say the villages has no shelters.
Yeah, and I said the regular shelters I think is at the village's elementary school over on Rolling Acres Road, and there's another one in Lady Lake, I believe. And I think both of them take pets. But find out, if they take pets, because if you got a pet, you don't want to leave them behind. And another thing, if you're moving down here, I know you got a million things to think about when you're moving, but one thing you need to check on is to update your dogs or any of your pets, update their microchip with the new address or a new phone number.
How you do that?
Whether, there's when you get a microchip,
Well, how you do that?
you call.
No, ain't what I'm talking about. How do they update a microchip?
No, the microchip, they do it.
I know they
don't
do
know.
it.
Well,
I
I don't
said,
know if they send
how
you-
do they do it?
I don't know if they send you a new one, but you do need to
You
update
can't
it.
just, the microchip's usually injected under the skin.
Right. I don't know how
Well, they're not going to send you one.
they well, I don't know. I don't know. No, I mean on the people that you call when your dog's microchip is checked, the company that you call, you want to make sure that
In
they
order to
have
check your microchip, they got a scanner. You go to the veterinarian. He
Right.
scans it.
right, and the place
Well, who are you calling?
that puts the microchip in.
The veterinary does that. He's the one that gets the microchip, not you.
All right, but the microchip shows an address and a phone number.
Well,
Right.
my point is, can he take that scanner, put a new address and stuff in there, scan it, and just like a computer, just change the address, or does that have to surgically be removed to put in a new one?
I don't know. I'm just saying look into it because it's important because, they don't want to be calling somebody in Maryland if your dog's down here. So, like
If it's a small dog, just give it to me. I'll take care of it.
but it's something to think about when you move down here, and if you don't have your
Joy!
pet microchip, do that, please.
Wasn't Joy on vacation or something, out running around?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, because she couldn't make the members' lunch. You told me. So she sent an email saying they were going to be traveling or something and couldn't make members' lunch.
Yeah.
You missed it. We went over to
Havana.
Havana and had the members' lunch over there. I got the Cuban sandwich that was okay. I didn't really I've
But
never had.
that's not something you like to start with.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm not a big fan of Cuban sandwiches anyway because they put roast beef on there along with ham and cheese, and the two to me don't even go together at all.
But that's kind of the idea of a Cuban. Otherwise, it's just a roast beef sandwich.
I think it'd be a better sandwich if they just left the roast beef off of it. But and if I get it again, that's what I'm going to ask because you can do that. But they had a special pickle on it. I don't know what it was, but with the ham and everything, that was pretty good. I did like that. The bread was good. I liked the bread a lot. I don't forget what else I got. The only thing that ticked me off that it was going for the Patreon members and YouTube members that came to it. My little gift to them, I wanted to pay for everybody's meal. And I told my waiter that. He said, no problem. That when they brought me the ticket, I looked at it, I go, this ain't near enough. And come to find out, there was two servers there, and there was a server on one end of our table and a service on this end of the table. And apparently, by their rules, she billed them, he billed us, and I couldn't get it for everybody. So that kind of ruffled my feathers a little bit. But we'll get him next time.
Yeah. Victor Guerra says hello from Connecticut, but very soon to be from Newell. Thank you for all the information you've shared with us. Well, thank you, Victor. That's what we do. We just sit here and talk. I said, you guys ask us questions. We answer them if we can.
Elizabeth says, why do I find Chicago disgusting? I never said disgusting. I said I don't like Chicago at all. Did I say disgusting?
You did.
I may have. But it goes back in my younger days, and it carries forward with me, just like you. You've had a bad experience in your life, say at Disney World, when you was 8 years old. So till this day, you have this bad feeling about Disney World. It's implanted in you. As a truck driver, there was nothing good in Chicago for me at all. Nothing. They treated us bad as truckers because they thought we were like free labor. They would say, oh, just park out there. We'll come and get you when we're ready. And you could sit out there all day. They didn't care. Nobody had air conditioning back then in semi-trucks. Just imagine this. Or we back into a dock finally. And then they say, okay, are you ready? And I say, ready for what? They want me to hand unload that stuff like I work for them. That's my problem with Chicago. It's still with me to this day. Chicago is probably a fine city if you live there. It's a big tourist area. I know that. But for me, I remember those days.
Milan wants to know if the palm tree is blown over, can it be replanted?
You know, it probably can be, but it's not going to be cheap because they got to bring a crane out, a backhoe. They're probably going to have to wait until the ground dries out, or they're going to have to stake the tree up. You've probably seen palm trees here driving around in different areas of Florida where they'll put a new tree in, and then you'll see like these boards that goes up on each side of the tree, and then they put a band around it to kind of prop the tree up. They'll have to do that.
Yeah,
so I mean,
get some roots.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
Yeah. Noah Seftel says you're just naturally funny because of the location of where you were born and raised and what you did for a living and all the great stories you tell. That's entertaining to me, being from New York.
That's funny. Well, you know, in different areas of the country, if you don't travel a lot in the country, because it seems like, here's what I find funny, just me, that people will spend thousands and thousands of dollars to travel the world, go to Africa, go to Australia, go to all these places, but they don't go anywhere in the United States where they live. They've never been here. They've never been there. I've heard about it, but I don't go there. I don't know. I find that funny. I like to see what America is first, and then I'll move on from there. I mean, I've been out of the country a couple of times. We've been to Haiti, went to Jamaica, been to Mexico. Mexico was disgusting. And where else was it? Been somewhere else. I don't remember everywhere else. It's okay, but it doesn't really. I don't know. I just don't have that fever to go to other countries. I mean, if I was to go to other countries and see particular things, I can think of a couple, but I wouldn't go there because I hate the country, like China. I wouldn't mind seeing the touristy areas of China, like the Great Wall. I wouldn't mind seeing that, but I won't go there because I hate China. And so that's my story. See, I'm rambling again. I can't help it.
Oh, hey, love the Cape. Haven't seen you for a while. So Skip's channel's the best on YouTube. Well, thank you. I said his rambling does have a purpose.
Not really.
Kristen says, I can't get over the number of new village homes going up along the Florida Turnpike and the areas of land being cleared for further development. I wonder how much further they plan to develop. Well, you know, as long as they're making money and they can buy land.
Think about it.
Yeah. They don't have to do just senior living anymore because the Middleton, that's all families. So it's Middleton by.
I can almost guarantee you, I haven't really delved into it. You could probably delve it. He's got several companies. Here it's called Lake Sumter Land Development Company or something like that. And that's what all this is about, is from that company. But he's got other companies. At one time, a few years ago, they were talking about starting a place like this in Texas. And I don't know if that ever got started. I don't know if it come to an end. I don't know anything about it, but there was talk about that and I'm not talking about rumors. This came from corporate headquarters about a possible another. Then after that, they were looking for other land to buy. They ended up buying it here, but they were looking for other land to buy, and because they had announced several times that Lake Sumter's it, we're not going to go any further. That's as big as it's going to be. So we're looking for more land. They were going to build something like this up in the northern part of Florida somewhere, I think. And then Mark Morris, the old man, is it Mark Morris? Was that the old man's name? The one that died. The one that died. Anyway, that's the old man Morris. He bought land up around Ocala, and we thought, well, that's where they're going to build another area like this. And then he announced that they wouldn't let him or something, and he was going to turn it into a big game ranch where you could pay money to go kill things. And then I think Ocala stepped in and said, no, we're not doing that here. And so after that, I kind of lost track.
Yeah. Yeah, and then, like I said, as long as they're making money doing it, like I said in the paper now, like I said, they've changed the name there to Middleton by the Villages. And I said, and they can continue to build those as much as they want. I mean, any developer that's building houses, they just happen to have the village name. But I mean, they can continue doing that as long as they can find land.
Well, they bought land, or I should say they're contracted to buy land. And I forget where I read it, or maybe somebody here told me. And when I say somebody, I don't mean a neighbor or anything. I don't listen to all that. Somebody like that works for the Villages. I can't remember who it was. I wouldn't tell you anyway. Told me that they were contracted, that they had enough land under contract that at the rate of development that they're doing now, which they're selling 250 some odd homes, new homes every month. At that rate, they had enough land to build homes for the next 20 years. So that's why I constantly tell people, take your time. Don't feel like you have to buy anything.
Yeah. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to be at the same price, but they're going to continue building.
Well, what raises the price of everything here is the bond. The bond is the trick. And it's actually it's an ingenious trick on his part. That's why you can generally buy a brand new house cheaper than a used one, because the bond. And the bond depends on really what they pay for the land. And like Walt Disney, they bought enough land around here that the local farmers are wise to this. They know what's going on. So the price of land just kind of skyrocketed up to where now, if you want to buy a premier lot, at one time it wasn't that bad, but now I think if you want like a waterfront lot, a premier lot, whatever a premier lot means, golf course in the backyard kind of thing, I hear they're upwards of $100,000 and up just for the lot.
I couldn't tell you that.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. You might want to double check on that.
Yeah, but now that that's not. Yeah, that's not the house. That's just per lot.
That's just a lot.
Yeah, yeah, and I know they get premium money for the lots on the golf courses and on the water. Why, I don't know, because they seem to be a lot more trouble. But I said they do get that premium money for that because you got a view, And I remember my house up north. I wouldn't let him build a big pole barn in the back because I had a beautiful view. I loved it, and it was just that thing. I liked it.
Sherry says when it comes to the microchip, they can be changed. They when you get the chip, they give you the phone number of the person, I guess, or company that makes the chip, and I have it done. It says they said they had to do it, but anyway, the chip information can be changed without taking it out, and that's what I was thinking. You could probably do that, but it does.
Wherever it come from, not the person that put it in, for where it comes from.
Well, but the thing is, you ain't got the equipment to change that stuff in the chip.
No.
I think the vet does.
Well, the vet does, or they know who to call.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. But that's what it's important to do that, though, because like I said,
well, it seems to me that if it's your chip and you bought it, that they should have a website in such a way you can go in with like the information off your chip and just change it yourself on the computer.
And you may, because you have to actually go online to activate it once you get it. But like, this stuff changes. I haven't done that in a long time. So this stuff changes all the time. So they'll make it easier if they can.
Joshua, that question's been asked 1,000 times. I got no answer for you. They just won't do it because I think all the regional rec centers, and I could be wrong about this, because things get kind of in a gray area from one area of the villages to the other. I think all the rec centers or regional rec centers, the developer owns them. We don't own them. We just have rights to them. And I don't think he wants the liability of saying that'll be a shelter. And I think a shelter's got to be built differently too. It's got to be built totally differently. It's got to be able to stand like 200-mile-an-hour winds, which means a different roof, a different everything. And who knows how much that would cost.
Yeah.
So he just don't want the liability if that roof caves in. You're going to sue him, and that's we become a sue nation. We sue about everything. So I don't know, but no, we don't have a shelter here. Here was the thought that I had a few years ago, and I put it out there, and I thought maybe some company somewhere would hear my video and maybe respond to it a little bit. You may have to pay for it yourself, but I kept thinking, for a storm shelter here, everybody has a master bedroom closet. And I was just thinking, it's a shame you can't take that master bedroom closet during construction, reinforce that closet with the ceilings and all that stuff to where that's your storm shelter. Storm's coming through, you go in your master closet, shut the door, and hunker down.
Like a safe room.
Yeah, but they don't do that here. And I don't think they even offer it here.
I think price probably would prohibit it.
That'd be up to you. If you want to buy it and do that, I'm just saying we don't even have that option to do that.
Yeah. Dale McDermott says he has a website that he goes on and updates his information on the chip. Goes to the company and gives them a number or whatever, and that turns around and goes to the information I have supplied and updated. Yeah.
Yeah. So we know it can be done.
Right.
I was just concerned about, when it comes to dogs and things, we both are very sensitive to the dogs and how they feel. I've seen pets that's got bad teeth and they're not doing anything. Maybe they can't afford it. I don't know, but I feel for the pet because if you've ever had a toothache in your life, just look at that dog and think about that. And my dad had a little dog. There are certain breeds of dogs that are just known for bad teeth. What'd Dad have? Yorkshire or Yorkie.
Yes, yeah.
Yorkies are known for bad teeth. And you can almost tell if a dog's got bad teeth because they inevitably always have bad breath. And he'd have to take his Yorkie in time and time again because they really couldn't, well, it was an old one too. They really couldn't fix the teeth, so they'd have to surgically take them out. I felt so sorry for that little guy.
Yeah.
Lou's DE, our active retirement, says, I've been to a foreign country. It was New York City. I know, right?
Yeah. Well. Okay. Marcia says it done wrong Cuban sandwich have roast pork and ham, Swiss cheese, mustard, and pickles.
Well, I know, but I'm just telling you, they had roast beef on it. See, I didn't really look at the menu that well. I made up my mind before I went there. I'm going to get that Cuban sandwich.
Yeah, because when we did the top 10, that was one of the places that Jose did not like.
Yeah, he didn't.
And the reason he didn't like it is because, he's Puerto Rican. But he knows a Cuban sandwich. And he didn't like their Cuban sandwich. So that's what he ordered.
So I said, I'm going to get the Cuban sandwich. See what it is.
Yeah, to see if it was any good or not. And I said that because I said, that Havana had changed hands and they were a lot better than what they used to be. And Jose hadn't been there for a while. So I thought, I was hoping that he would be a little bit more impressed with it. And he was. But he didn't get the Cuban.
Well, he said it was better.
He said
I'm not sure he was really impressed with it, but he said it was better.
But he didn't get the Cuban sandwich. So.
Yeah, he did. He got the Cuban sandwich, but he did what I should have done. He said, but don't put, I don't want this, I don't want that on it, I don't want that on it. He got, I guess what you would call, he got it narrowed down to a traditional Cuban sandwich. I just said, just bring it all to me. And, everything was fine except that roast beef. If they would have left that off for me. This is just that's why I hate about talking about restaurants. It's all about your own taste. And that roast beef, I don't mind roast beef. I like roast beef if it's done particularly, like a roast, what do you call them? Beef Manhattans. Is that roast beef?
Yeah.
Yeah, beef Manhattans. If you don't know what that is, Google it. I love beef Manhattans done my way. But you go to a restaurant, almost guarantee you it's not going to be done your way. It's going to be done their way.
Yeah.
Let me tell you how I like my roast beef. If you haven't had it, you got to have it this way. You get roast beef, right? You get it boiled down, cooked up, whatever. It's got gravy in it and stuff. Once you got it ready, fresh mashed potatoes, not instant mashed potatoes, fresh mashed potatoes. And if they're a little lumpy, that's also good. You put that in the middle of your plate, and then you take bread. You slice it corner to corner, like you're making a sandwich to go, right? In the middle of that, that's where you put the roast beef and the gravy. You just slop it in there, and then put the top back on it. And then you take corn. You put whole corn, and you take a scoop of the corn, or 2 scoops, whatever, sweet corn, and you pour that on top of the mashed potatoes.
You're making everybody hungry
No
now.
corn juice. That makes the potatoes kind of watery. You don't want the corn juice. You just want the corn on the potatoes. Then you take 2 or 3 scoops of gravy, which has probably got mushrooms in it and whatever, and you pour that all over everything, and then chow down.
That's what you make everybody hungry.
Can you see me trying to explain this to a waitress?
Yeah, and now they want to give you an open face roast beef. That's what the restaurants do.
It's the same thing, though, right?
Yeah, but they use one piece of bread.
Oh,
That's why it's open face. They don't have the one on top. So,
yeah, but then they get soggy.
well, I'm just telling you.
Hmm.
Renee Gonzalez says she visited Chicago when she was 17 in December. Way too cold and dirty for me. Yes, way too cold.
Where?
Chicago.
Is it cold up there now?
No, she said when she was 17, she visited in December. And yeah, December is cold.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, though, big towns like that around Christmas time is like New York City. As much as I think people in New York City are a little wacky, and they are, not all of them. I know not all of them, but it does seem like some of the wackiest people that I see are from the New York City area. And look at it now up there. It's just a mess. I wouldn't go there to save my ass. But I would love to go to New York City sometime for Christmas and go around at the different things and the Christmas lights and the trees.
Yeah,
And
before long there won't be any stores to be window shopping in.
no, everybody's going to go to online shopping.
Yeah.
And I can understand why. I mean, if I had a business, I would seriously consider it.
Yeah. Cliff Clavin says he loves Chicago. When he was in the Navy at Great Lakes,
Yeah.
plenty of real sociable ladies.
Chicago's got some great things about it. You get around the pier up there, Lake Erie up there. They've got the naval pier. I've never been there, but I've seen it. I don't know. They got all kinds of stuff. The one thing they got up there that's a touristy thing now. I would never do it to save my butt. I would never do it. I think it's the Sears. Is it the Sears Tower? There's a tower there. You go to the top of it, and you pay for this, and you get a scenic view. First of all, 80 stories in the air ain't happening with me anyway. I'm not going up there. But you get in this thing, and they got like handrails on the side. You hang on to it, and then at a moment's notice, this glass encased that you're in tilts out. Holy crap! I would die.
You didn't hear all of it. Says plenty of real sociable ladies.
Well, you could say the same thing about truck stops. There's a lot of sociable ladies walking around the parking lot out there.
Yeah, big cities seem to have those. Dell was talking about the palm trees at Franklin. A bunch of the palms blew over and they redirected them immediately several months ago. And he said they replanted them. Yeah, because they said they're not rooted really good for a long time. And that's why they usually have to have them shored up for a while until those roots get deep. And
Mike says he'd been in China. So Mike's been everywhere, by the way. Seriously, Mike has been everywhere. You need to know anything about any city, I swear to God, he's been there. He has. I thought he was done, but he says he's got to go back to Abu Dhabi at the end of September.
all right.
I thought he told us he was retired.
Well, I thought so.
Huh. Well, I don't know what to tell you, Mike, except you know where you're going. I've never been. Whoops. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I've never been there.
Yeah, you can go to Germany to see the wall. We actually got to touch part of it. We were in a museum. Where was that? Oh, no, we were at, was it Nixon's? No. when we were in California. We were in California.
Presidential Library.
Yeah, and I said, and in there was a piece of the wall in there.
Oh, the German wall. Yeah.
Yes.
Everywhere you go, listen, that German wall thing is a big deal, but it's all true. I was in a bar somewhere. Don't remember where. I was in a bar. Went into the bathroom to take a leak. Behind the urinal was a piece of the German wall.
They had kind of a little museum piece in there, and they had, I don't know, they had several little different memorabilia from that era. It was kind of cool, actually. Yeah, hit that thumbs up button, people. And I said, we got 305 right now.
Somebody here says that the lots right now are really low, so it's 30,000 on water. Here in the villages, I find that hard to believe. I keep an eye on this stuff, and I've never seen a lot for no $30,000 with waterfront. I have to double check on that. Not saying you're wrong, but that's a new one on me.
Yeah, Mike, if you're headed back to Abu Dhabi, is Darlene still going to be here?
Oh yeah, if she's going to be here, have her give us a call. We'll pick her up and take her out for dinner once in a while. You know, because you're going to be gone, or is she going with you? I mean, I don't know what she's doing. Yeah. If I was her, I'd let you go.
Okay. Cliff Clayman says they're planning a trip to Buc-ee's in Daytona. Yeah, and I heard we're going to get another one at Fort Pierce. That I said it hadn't passed all the permits and stuff, but that was.
We ain't got ours yet.
No, but like I said, all that's passed. It's just a matter of when they get ready to start building.
Yeah.
But the one at Fort Pierce is just on the paperwork so far.
Well, apparently the one in Ocala still is too. I haven't heard anything about they haven't started construction yet.
No, they haven't started the construction yet, but
we knew about it a year ago.
Yeah, everything's been approved. And it's going to be the biggest one until they get the next one.
They always say that. Yeah. Just like we was on a cruise, the largest ship in the world.
Yeah.
And we talked to a guy that worked on that boat for years, for the company for years. He said, yeah. He said, every time they make one of these, he said, they always add an anchor or they add some kind of a cherub on the front of the boat where they think to make it the longest boat in the world.
And I think they've had two since the last cruise we did.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I don't think the Harmony of the Sea is the longest boat anymore. I think they got a couple other ones that came out.
There's a Wonder and something else.
I think my cousin is getting ready to go on Harmony of the Seas. Mm-hmm. He'll like it. Harmony of the Seas is a big boat. Here's my argument about that. It's got, I think it was 6,000 passengers, 2,500 crew members that live on the boat, plus the entertainers and stuff like that. 8,500 people on this boat. I just think that's too crowded. Everywhere we went, it just seemed like there was just a lot of people, even in the boat. I mean, you go to a show, it was crowded. You had to have reservations, actually. Yeah. Every time you went to dinner, lines of people, they say, all the food you can eat. Well, that's true at the buffets, but by the time you get your stuff and sit down, the food's cold. So I really enjoyed the dining room where you had a waiter come to your table. And when we found out that you could do breakfast there, you don't have to go to the buffet to do breakfast. That's where I started getting breakfast every day, was down there. Yeah. Quiet. It was nice. The food was hot. And, that's where we started going.
Yeah. Like I said, it's been a while, but yeah. Because I keep telling him he's always wanting to go to Alaska. And I just think for us to trek to Alaska, the two of us, I think we're too old, truthfully. But I think
who said anything about you going?
Well, I said, I know you, and you always drag me with you everywhere. But like I said, I think a cruise would not be bad. Yeah, I just don't want to go into cold weather.
The problem with cruises is just like I said, there's just so many people on there that, just like getting on the elevator. Sometimes you get on, sometimes you got to wait.
Yeah. Well, I don't think the ones they have out in Alaska, I don't think they're as big a ship as what we were on, but oh well.
I don't know that either. And there's certain parts of Alaska I want to see that you can't do from a ship. Yeah. I mean, it should be okay, but I can just see where it got to get pricey. One, we got to fly from here to there. The ships are going to be up around the Seattle area. You're going to have to fly up there. And guarantee when you fly up there, you'll be 2 days early, so you're going to have to go out and get a hotel room somewhere. And then you're going to have somebody Uber you over to the damn boat. I don't know. It just seems like a lot of trouble to me. Oh, flight delays.
Yeah.
Well, you missed the boat because you showed up late.
Well, They said that's the way with everything.
No, I don't like that.
Well, anyhow.
Here's what I'd like to do. Go to a travel agent and have them set it up. I want a private plane to take me up there. I want a private car to meet me at the airport, and that car take me directly to the boat. Going and coming. That's the way I'd like to do it.
You could do that. They have,
I ain't got enough money in my ass to do that.
Joe, it's not that much.
What are you, private plane from here to there? Are you kidding me? That's like 10 grand.
Oh, wow. Kelly R says she almost went to the Buc-ee's in Daytona after 400 on Saturday night. Well, that almost doesn't count. They have a bus trip from here, actually, that goes to Buc-ee's at Daytona. And there's also something else that it is two different things. It goes to Buc-ee's and maybe an antique store or something. It's on that bus trip. I seen it. I laughed. A lot of people think, that that's a destination. Martin Donlan says, hello, Skip and Sue from DeLuna. Not a bad first hurricane to experience. Kathy and I had a great time at the last members' lunch, so nice meeting everyone we've been watching on your channel.
Well, make sure you come to the next one. We have them like on an average. We don't never have them scheduled, but like every other month.
Yeah, every other month. Yeah, and I said we have a good time. There's not a lot of us because a lot of our viewers are not in the villages. So 15 to 20 people usually. And I said not all of us can come. This time we actually had all of us because Linda and Judy and Jose. No,
Phil B and his wife couldn't make it because of doctor's appointments, and Bill B couldn't make it because of doctor appointments. That's the problem here with setting things up, is this doctor appointments, visitors coming by, things like that to get in the way, and it's hard to schedule. So what we've just decided to do, we put it out there that we're going to have it. Is everybody in? And if I don't get, when I tell them to RSVP, that's for a reason. If I don't get a significant, because I don't know who's going to do what. If I don't get a significant response to that, then we postpone it and do it another time.
Yeah, but we've never had to do that so far.
So far, we haven't had to do it.
Martin, did you find you some furniture? I gave you a tip on a couple places to go, but there's a lot more. Those are just two right off the top of my head that I sent you to. So I think they have a nice assortment. I guess I can put it that way.
Who has assortments?
The stores I said they were looking for some furniture.
Oh, well, is it all place? I don't know. I don't shop. But I do know that when I did go out with her a couple of times to look around, I was just impressed by some of the consignment stores. Some of them have new and used. Some of them, almost all the consignment stores we went to, they're very picky about what they buy. They will buy your furniture to put in their store, but it's got to be primo, or they just simply won't take it.
Yeah.
And our first house, we bought a lot. I think everything in the house almost, other than the bedroom.
We had a time constraint. We only had 10 days to get it ready.
We had 10 days to get it, and the bed stuff, she ordered that off the line when the Villages owned the furniture store at that time called
Southern Lifestyle. Southern
Lifestyle. Villages owned that. And so as a resident here, when you bought a house, there was nothing you couldn't ask for that they wouldn't do for you. And I kid you not. And so we already had that set up. They did it for us.
Yeah. But yeah, I hope you found something cool. I said, because they have like I said, those places have a great assortment. If you need
Who you responded to anyway?
Martin.
Mark?
Martin.
Well, Mark says, finally get to watch you guys live. We closed on our home in Richmond in February. Are they that far behind on closing on houses? He bought a house and he can't close till February?
I think he closed in February.
Wait a minute. Let me see if I got this right. We closed. Oh, I'm sorry.
But they're not here full time yet.
No.
Yeah.
That's okay. Take your time. Your house ain't going anywhere.
Yeah. Marcia said Publix makes a good Cuban.
Who?
Publix.
I'm not going there.
Well, they have the kitchen on the side there where you can get food that's already.
Next time you're there, you can bring me one.
Okay. Well, they have a kitchen there where
Has they got roast beef on it?
I don't know. I've never had one there.
Yeah, so I don't want any roast beef on my
It
sandwich.
should be roast pork for to be a Cuban. It should be roast pork and ham and
I'd rather
cheese.
go to a restaurant because then I know I'm going to get it hot. You go to Publix and get one and bring it here. By the time you get it here, it's going to be cold. Then you're going to microwave it. Then the bread's going to get all kind of ooky and
Yes, folks, he's not picky.
yeah.
Um,
I don't want it.
yeah. Well, you'll love it in Richmond. You know, I am so impressed with the rec center down there, that Lake Oklahoma Rec Center. That's going to be that's one fabulous place. And I said when they get the restaurant's supposed to be put in there in the next month or two. I think they said in the last quarter to be Harry and the Natives. So it's going to be. I think it's going to be more snack bar than restaurant, but still, and you can go kayaking, and it's just a great idea. I think it was a good idea that they had there. So Richmond's a good place to be.
Boy, Becky, I feel sorry for your dog. Seriously, that's what happens with older dogs. There are certain breeds that's worse than others. But she said he had a Cavalier, and it was too old to get her teeth cleaned and whatever. So every time she went to the vet to have her teeth cleaned, she would lose some of her teeth. So she ended up having them all pulled out. You know, dog was 14 years old. That's rough on an older dog.
Yeah.
It'd be rough for an older person to have all their teeth cut out. When you think about it.
I remember old Jack.
Well, I remember Dad really got to an age there where they had to do some surgery on him, and they wouldn't put him under anymore. They give him local shots, you know, numb him.
Yeah.
And I can remember him complaining, saying, I felt every bit of that. And maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know. But why didn't they just put you out? He said, they said I was too old. And, you know, I think about that. If that day would ever come to me, I'm going to tell Sue, I will demand, put me out. If I wake up, fine. If I don't wake up, it's a peaceful sleep. And if you're not going to put me to sleep, then I'm going to go home.
Don't worry. I will tell them. I don't want to listen to you. So, and Rich Reeser said, big slice of Puerto Rico roast pork. And then Marcia says she feels like if you don't call it a Cuban, if it's not fixed like a proper Cuban, what you got was a sub. Yeah.
Well, I'm really not sure exactly what a Cuban is. I've never been to Cuba. Up to my way of saying things, you have to go to a Cuban restaurant that the people that own that restaurant are from Cuba to know exactly what a Cuban is. We went to one once, Gloria Estefan.
Yeah.
And she had a restaurant somewhere. I forget where we were at. And I went to this Cuban restaurant. And then everybody in there was Cuban. The waiters, everybody. And I figured, this is where I'm really going to get the Cuban flavors here. Let me just say, other than the sandwich, most of the Cuban stuff I had was bland, very bland. No spices to it at all.
Really surprising, actually, because we expected, you know, that it's going to be either fiery hot or, you know, very spicy.
I guess I'm always thinking foreign countries have spicy foods. I know that's not right. But that's what I think. Oh, if it's from Spain, it's spicy. You know?
Oh, Jerry Bell said corn juice. Do they sell that in the refrigerator section?
No, it's in the can. See, all of our corn comes out of a can. So you got that juice in there. You got to strain that off.
Oh, yeah. Jerry Campbell says beef Manhattan was a staple, just like meatloaf when I was raised in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Yes. My mom was a wonderful cook. Yeah, that, you know, and it's funny because the storm coming, and I said, I know it's 90 degrees down here, right? But you know what I made for dinner last night?
Chili.
Chili. That's my storm food, you know, is chili. And I said, we're not having the cold weather, but that's, you know, we always made soup for bad weather. But yeah, the Indianapolis area, that was, you know, we were a little bit north of Indianapolis at that time, but yeah, that was a staple, meatloaf and the Manhattans. Yeah. And I said, I know everybody's getting hungry.
Yeah, I like beef Manhattan. I like simple things like that, as long as they're just made. The thing that makes mine probably different than most people is the corn. I'm sure without the corn, you guys have probably had mashed potatoes. Sometimes in a restaurant, they'll put the bread and stuff on top of the mashed potatoes to make it look pretty. I don't care about all that. But the corn, I like the corn because back on the farm days, my dad always done that too. Peas, corn, and there was some other things. That was his gravy on the potatoes. He just poured it on the potatoes, and so I do that.
Yeah, daily. These are these are cheaters from Walgreens. They're not designer glasses, honey. No, I just need them when I'm looking at the phone. Is all I need them for. But
This is what happens when you go in for eye surgery to get your eyes corrected. Then you got to wear glasses.
I just use them for reading the phone because
She has to wear glasses, but she had eye surgery to correct both eyes. Now we wear glasses.
And it did. That's because I didn't up for the other $6,000 for lenses. You know, you can get other things. I said, I just got what Medicare paid for. And I said, it was good. I don't have to wear glasses full time, which was my object. You know, I didn't want to wear them full time. But I do still need them to read, unfortunately. But yeah, they're $29 at Walgreens.
Kelly says, do it this year. Don't miss New York City Christmas. Kelly, I'm not going up there in this mess. They got political problems up there. There's no way I'm going up there in the middle of this mess. It'll have to straighten itself out before I show up. But I said this years ago, has nothing to do with New York. Years ago, for the second or third time we were there, I forget how many times we've been there, we stopped by New Orleans. Can't remember what year that was. And we was at New Orleans and looking around doing some things that we hadn't done. We was at a hotel and we hired a taxi cab to take us downtown. And even the taxi cab driver he said, you ever been here before? And so, oh, yeah, we've been here a couple of times. And we're wanting to go to this area up here because there's some things there I didn't do last time. And he goes, okay, this street here where the police department was right there on the corner. He says, do not go down this road here at night. I said, why not? He said, this is where all the shootings and stuff happens. I said, the police station's right there.
He actually told us not to call him after dark.
Yeah, I said, don't call me after dark. I'm not coming down here. And so I told Sue then, has nothing to do with New York. I said, until the mayors of these towns get this stuff straightened out, I'm not coming back to New Orleans either.
Yeah. Kristen says, and want to know if I've been to the new Hobby Lobby. I haven't. Judy and I are going to go, but we were kind of letting the newness wear off. And I've got a ladies' lunch tomorrow, which is out that direction. So I might stop by then because I need some paint. But yeah, I haven't been in there yet. And then I said we had been told that they were opening the 28th, but the actual opening was on Friday, which was the 26th, or 25th, something like that. But then they had because that was what they call a soft opening. And I said we went by there and the place was packed. So that's why we decided we just wait a little while until the newness wore off, because they're going to have the same thing they have in most Hobby Lobbies. So I don't think we're going to miss anything.
Mindy says, no way, I'm not going in that contraption. She must be talking about the Sears Tower, that thing goes up.
Yeah.
No, me neither. Well, first of all, it's like 80 stories up. That's not happening with me.
Yeah.
You know. Look at the size of that guy.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like a small dinosaur.
Yeah, Skip's little lizards back here bothering him. He followed you from up front.
I don't know, but some of them around here are getting pretty good size.
Yeah.
They must be eating well.
Oh.
BB says, blessings from California. Hey, California, run. Run, Forrest, run.
Yeah, come on down here and join us. Oh, J.C. Comer says, lot lizards. Yeah.
Jerry says, now that you mentioned it, I may have the corn juice next to the grape juice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and Laura says Navy Pier is the #1 tourist attraction in Chicago. You know, I would love to go there, and I've seen, of course, like I said, my brother lives up there where Laura is in the suburbs, and he sent me a lot of pictures, but I would like to go there to see the mirrored bean. I don't know what they call it now, but it's a mirrored looking.
Oh, I'm not walking on that.
You don't walk on that.
They got one at the Grand?
It's a sculpture.
Oh.
It's a mirrored sculpture. And
yeah, but it's called something Bean. Yeah. Skippy went there.
And I would love to see that, and I would love to go to the art museum. And I know it's not his thing, but I would just I would love to go to the art museum.
Well, let's get a hotel room that's really close to it, so I can lay in bed and watch TV.
Yeah,
I ain't interested.
And they always have the Antique Roadshow. They always come from Navy Pier there, and I think that would be interesting.
Navy Pier, she says, is probably the number one tourist attraction. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen it. It looks like it'd be an interesting place to walk. The other one that I thought about, and it ain't just there, they got them in different places, is Chinatown. I always thought that'd be interesting to go there and look around and see what, I don't know what they do there. I know they got restaurants there, but I don't know. But like I say, politically, with the way the world is, I'd always like to go to San Francisco and see the Fisherman's Wharf. I ain't going there.
Elizabeth says, Skip, in Chicago, you talk about the tilt at the Hancock building. The Willis Tower has a ledge that hangs over the street.
Well, I just know one
Yeah.
of them does. Yeah, I don't know which one it
Now,
is.
he won't go up that high.
No, I'm not going to have
Now,
that.
you ought to see him at the Hoover Dam.
No, well, yeah.
He
that
wouldn't
too.
even walk on the sidewalk because
No.
you could see over.
I walked in the road.
Not big on heights.
No.
Yeah.
And it's a funny thing about height with me. If I'm in control of the height, it doesn't bother me. If I'm not in control of the height, I don't know. It's just something about it. It's just, I can feel the earth moving underneath my feet.
Yeah.
The Hoover Dam, if you had never been there and looked over the edge, which we did, and I did look over the edge, holy crap. I had no idea it was that high in the air, down to the bottom. It's just humongously tall. But yet I can get on a jet airplane and fly 30,000 feet, and that don't seem to bother me all that much.
Yeah, well, Laura said they were on the 103rd floor of the Willis Tower last week and had great views of Chicago.
Yeah, it would. It's up there.
Yeah.
You're in the clouds, man.
Marcia says, I am a Cuban and I do take issue when restaurants call something Spanish when the average American doesn't know better.
Yeah, you're right. I don't.
I've seen Cubans made with mayo, mustard, lettuce, tomato. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's not.
Yeah, that's Americanized kind of. It's just like Italian food. Italians really must take issue with Olive Garden. You know what I'm saying? Because like I told Sue, I said, I know in Italy, and I've never been there, I know they eat more than just pasta. These people do not live on pasta.
Right.
I know they have lamb, they have other things cooked the Italian way, which I don't know what way that is. So if I ever went to Italy, I can almost guarantee you my number one tourist attraction is I'm going to hit restaurants because I want to know how.
It's all about the food.
Yeah, it's all about the food. I mean, I don't really care about seeing all the museums. She would. I'll just tell her, I'll be at this restaurant when you're done. Just come and get me.
Becky Farber says, seriously, Skip, she saw that $30,000 for a waterfront lot too.
Huh, that is wild. I didn't realize that.
Well, and somebody a while ago said that they do that with the price of the lots instead of changing the price of the house. Or changing the price of the buildings, they'll change the price of the lots.
I don't know what the reasoning is, but the only time I ever seen the villages come down in prices on anything is when home sales stagnated.
Yeah.
Remember here, they had a few homes left they wanted to sell to close this neighborhood out. They were giving people like a 6% discount on the house. And then after that, one or two houses they had left to get rid of, they offered all of them, if you buy the house, we'll give you a free golf cart.
Well, yeah, one time they did, but I know this one down here, they put palm trees in the yard. And then none of these houses had palm trees in their yard until people moved here and started putting them in. But the one house that they couldn't sell down here, they put palm trees in the yard and then it sold.
Yeah, they have little things that they do once in a while, but I haven't really heard of any, decent villages sales going on because they've been selling homes pretty quick. But yeah, it happens. So maybe I don't know. I don't know why it's so cheap. I've never heard of that.
Bob Hart says Nice's is coming to the Madison, Wisconsin area. Well, I never heard of Nice's. Is it like a Buc-ee's? That's new to me.
Bob says, hello from northern Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to go fishing up at Flambeau Floyd's up by Mercer, Wisconsin. I don't know how far north it is. I know it's up there a ways. I would love to go back there again, really not to go fishing all that much, just to see the changes it's made. But a guy, when I mentioned it on the last video, he sent me some pictures, not really a video, of that area that he goes to because he's got like a weekend cabin up there. And it's nothing what I remember, so I'm not really interested in going back. The lake has gotten popular. There's $1 million homes around it, and so I just kind of lost interest in it.
Yeah. And Jerry wants to ask Marcia if she's ever watched Traveling Robert. He's from Cuba. I watch Traveling Robert. I love his shows. I really do.
Never heard of the guy.
Oh, you have seen it. I know you have. He's traveling in his RV. That's the song that goes along with it. And he has
Oh, you
great
said
drone
Traveling
shots.
Robert.
Yes, Traveling Robert.
See, that ain't what my ears heard.
I know.
I heard Traverse Lobert.
Oh, God.
I never heard of the guy.
Yeah, I love Traveling Robert. And he knows what he's doing when he's doing these videos, I'm telling you. Oh, Bob Art says he meant to type Bucky's instead of Niceys. That's what I thought. I never heard of Niceys before, but good for you. And I said, I know you'll love it. And I said, we've loved everyone.
I like going to Bucky's because it's not, I'll say easy really because it's so popular, but it's easier to get your RV in and out of that place to get gas. My only problem with Bucky's is 100 pumps is fine, but when 90 of those pumps are blocked by cars because people are inside buying coffee and cupcakes and shopping for a Bucky's T-shirt, you can't get in the pump. They just leave it. They got a huge parking lot, but people will not move their car. They just leave them there. If you watch one of my videos, I sat at the pump for a half an hour because the guy in front of me was changing a baby diaper. He would not move.
Yeah, he's got that video actually.
That's what bothers me about Bucky's is that, and I've also learned by traveling, don't never go to a Bucky's on a holiday weekend.
Yeah,
It's a madhouse.
it is. And but like I said, you'll like it because it's totally different than what you're used to as far as a filling station goes. And a lot of people have said, they have big Wawas up on the East Coast.
They do.
And but I don't think they're
I've never been
near
to
what
them,
Bucky's are.
Yeah. We got Wawas here that are pretty, really Wawa's pretty nice.
Yeah.
It just seems like the one we got up around 301 attracts all the low life. They just do. I mean, for some reason, you hear about cops all the time. Got a call, this guy was trespassed, that guy was on drugs, this guy was an escaped convict, and they pick him up at Wawa.
Well, Mike Hughes says, I am semi-retired. Meet me there in Dubai where the Burj Khalifa is. That's the world's tallest building. I was there last time I was in Dubai. It's great to get on the top. And Darlene isn't going. Well, I'll give her a call while you're going.
I've never been to Dubai, but I will say one thing about Dubai. They're getting their money basically off of the world's oil. And I don't know how much they're making, but boy, they must be making a ton of it because they are doing some of the weirdest stuff out there that the rest of the world is not doing. And you just have to Google some of the stuff and look at the buildings, look at their future plans, some of the highways they're building, and look at the cars that everybody's driving. Good God, everybody's driving a $200,000 car.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, my.
Reagan Library. Never been there, gringo. That was a stop I was going to make when I was in California in the motorhome. We didn't make it there. I wanted to go there. I told Sue, I said, as long as I'm here, I want to go there. And I went to Nixon Library. I missed the Reagan Library. So that's another one on my list. I got to get checked off. I think I've been to almost all of the presidential libraries, all of them. And as the presidents die now, I'll say today, later days, the libraries are getting massive. Earlier days, they were interesting. There was a history of that president at those libraries, but they weren't near as massive as they are now. The one that I really liked out of all of them was the one of Roosevelt, the little White House that they made out in Tennessee, I believe it is, and it's lined with rocks, a rock boulder sent from every state in the United States, went down a driveway. The famous unfinished portrait of him is in that library, or in that house, little White House. And there's people in there that tells you about things. This is where he went. A lot of them go to Camp David. He went to the little White House, his place. And it showed little things that he had made in there that he kept in the public, like you're taking a bath. He took a bath. And if he dropped the soap and it rolled out into the floor, he had this little tool he made to reach out there and get that bar of soap. And I remember all that. Though that one, I thought that White House or that presidential library I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. But we've seen a lot of them. Restaurant says we need to go on a river cruise, less stressful than a cruise ship. And
I've heard that from other people, and I've never done a river cruise.
They're also very expensive.
And I wouldn't mind taking a river cruise, but I don't know which one.
Well, that might be a way of avoiding 95. If we wanted to go up the coast.
No, I'm talking about a river cruise like in Venezuela, or a river cruise down, I don't know, some exotic country somewhere. Italy, maybe they got one there.
I want to go to Greece and Italy.
But I don't know if they have a river cruise there. If I'm going to do a river cruise, that's what I want to do, because I'm going to do one and done.
Well, Lou did one. And I said she went somewhere. I think she went to Germany, Austria.
Yeah.
Well,
this is where we would have to talk to people that's already done one that can tell us what to do.
Well, our used to be neighbors. They took what they were gone almost a month.
They don't talk to me anymore.
Well, like I said,
somehow in a few years, I'm not sure how this worked out. I think I've pissed some people off. Maybe because of my videos. I don't know.
Let's see. Where are we at?
Marcia, do you follow Traveling Robert? Oh, you already read that.
Yeah.
So, Jerry, you watch Traveling Robert's RV channel, but you don't watch mine? Huh?
He doesn't.
He doesn't?
Yeah, you said he doesn't.
I'm harassing him.
Oh, okay.
God, she don't get it at all. I'm telling you, when they get to be 70 years old, all of a sudden the sense of humor is out there.
Oh,
it's
boy.
out there somewhere.
Yeah. Luz Delaware says, our active retirement, we're going on Norwegian to Nova Scotia. If there's anything there after
Yeah, Cliff Saver says ship, not a boat.
Okay.
You know, when I'm on the ships, I do that all the time. We'll go around and I'll say, boy, it's a pretty good size boat you got here. I act this rednecky thing. And the crew is always constantly correcting you. Well, it's actually a ship. What makes a boat? And they'll explain all this crap to you. And I'm sitting there,
Oh,
so I wonder how much this boat costs.
David Kosek said, we'd like to join you for the lunch. Well, the lunch tomorrow is a ladies' lunch, David.
Laura says there's a little White House in Key West. Harry Truman used it. I've been to Key West once, and
We've never seen it.
Yeah, no, I don't think I saw that. Did we drive by it?
No.
The thing I wanted to see when I was there, really, I wanted to do the cemetery tour. There's a lot of stuff there. I couldn't do it because we had a dog, and they didn't allow that back then. And I still would like to do that, though. If you guys don't know the story, there was this wacko doctor down there. I'm not sure what kind of doctor he was, but he had a patient that he got infatuated with. She died. They buried her. He went and dug her up, took her home, and kept her in his house for, God, I don't know how long. And as her body was decomposing, he would put wax on it to make it look, and who knows what else he may have done with his body. But then when that didn't work, he started wiring the bones together so it wouldn't fall apart. And then they found out, they charged him, and they took the body and buried it again. When he got out of jail, he went back, dug her up again, to the point where that person now, well, he's dead now, so they probably got it marked now, but at that time that they dug her up, or they got her back, they put her in an unmarked grave, so he couldn't find her, because they knew that. And as far as I know, they didn't put him in jail either, the doctor. Crazy. That's the stuff that's in this graveyard.
I just wanted to go to Hemingway's home.
We went by that, and there was a bunch of cats around there. We went by it, but we didn't go in it.
Yeah.
We had our dog. We couldn't take the dog in there.
Yeah.
Dave Dempsey, where you been, man? I ain't seen Dave in a long time. He hasn't been to a members' lunch or anything. Dude, we missed you. As a matter of fact, I talked about you last time I was there. I said, I wonder where Dave's at. We were getting concerned that maybe you were not doing well.
Okay. Yeah.
Hawaiian pizza was invented in Canada. Yep, it sure was. I think that was on one of my true or false things about the Hawaiian pizza.
And Lauren would like to, she said she'd like to try a Caribbean cruise or one to the Bahamas. Yeah. And I said, we had one and it was very, very, very nice. But we went with a group. So there was a lot of people to kind of show us the ropes.
They knew what they were doing.
That was our first cruise.
And we just followed them.
Yes. But like I said, it turned out really well that way.
There's a story there. I actually did the world's longest zip line over the ocean.
In
I did.
Haiti, yeah.
Everybody thought I wouldn't do it. Everybody said, "Oh, you ain't going to do that." I said, "I think I am. I'm only going to be here once in my life. I'm going to do it," and I did. And when I did it, there was 2 or 3 other people that was on the boat said, "Well, if he can do it, I'm going to do it." And so they did it too.
I tried, but I couldn't do it. But yeah, it was, and I don't think they even go to Haiti anymore because there's so much trouble down there now.
Yeah.
I think maybe they're going somewhere else. Although they have a private port. It was on one side of the island, and it was one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. I mean, it really was very, I don't know, very green.
I can tell you the whole story. Once you went through the training classes and all that to do this thing, we're going up this mountain, and about halfway up the mountain, we started seeing, I don't know if they were guards. I don't know if they're part of the Haitian army. I don't know, but they had camouflage uniforms on, and they had them guns that strapped to the, you know what I'm talking about, them guns there, and they were standing along the side of the road where we were going up the hill. And I even asked the guy, I said, "What's that all about?" He said, "Oh, they're just here for your protection. Nothing to worry about." Well, I worried about it.
Oh, Gringo, they're on their way. They're traveling right now. You want to know if Linda and Roy went back to San Diego, and they're like I said, they're on their way. They're taking their time getting out there, and from the pictures I've seen, they're having a good time.
Who are you talking about?
Linda and Roy.
You got pictures?
I got pictures.
She ain't mailed me nothing.
Yeah, it was on the one that all of us have.
Oh, I don't get on there.
Well, I know, but yeah, she sent it to all of us.
They got
Just a picture
they've got
of
a
her.
link. I don't know what you call it, a group session where they all talk back and forth on Messenger. Linda, there's 3 girls on there, and I don't go on there because they all gab like crazy.
Well, all your crew except for you.
Yeah, there's just me and I lose. There's me and 3 girls, and I lose. They got Judy and Sue and Jose. I can't compete with all them girls.
Why, I guess Jerry and Linda are sponsoring a cruise to Alaska later this year. Okay. David S. said, if I was on a cruise with Jerry and Linda, I would jump overboard. Well, like I said, a lot of them do it. Scooter has his own cruise. A lot of them do that. I don't get it. But a lot of the musical bands and stuff like that, and I said Scooter has his own, and it's a nice way to get out of town, and you don't have to pay for it. So, and Jerry says Linda took Frank this time. Yeah.
She's figuring on, I do know she's only figured on doing about 200 to 250 miles a day because it's too hard on Frank.
Yeah.
And so that's what she's been doing, skipping along. It'll take her 4 days or so to get to Indiana. And then from there, I know she's going further north. I think she's figuring on going all the way up to like 80, 94, one of them highways way up north, going through Montana, and then working her way back down south to California.
Yeah. But they're taking their time seeing the sights while they can.
Little White House is in Warm Springs, Georgia. That's probably correct. Mm-hmm. It's just been so many years ago, I couldn't remember what state that was in. But of all the different presidential libraries we went to, some are, like I said, the newer ones are big and massive and stuff, and that's fine. But I found that one to be the most interesting.
Yeah. And Martin says they actually got their dining room set at Rooms to Go. So they delivered it this morning. Well, that's good time, really. They was able to get it to you that quick. DD aerial photography, 75 in Chicago. Yeah, I know that the temperature went down a little bit. And I said, my brother said where they're at in Rockford, it was, I think the high it showed on the map that he sent me, it said 70 was supposed to be the high today. So I know it's this fall there, it should be going down. They shouldn't have 90-degree weather up there. But I think they're going to have some more over the weekend. It's supposed to get warm again. But just watch about the time we get ready to go, that temperature will drop like a log. Because I don't want to be there in cold weather. That's why I left here. Or why I left there.
I'll go by myself.
Well, you know,
I know how to open up a can of beans.
Archie McNasty says, hello from Bonnie, Scotland. Well, hello, Archie. Glad to have you. I said, we aren't sitting here talking about anything in particular. The big storm is pretty much over, and we survived. No problem.
Oh yeah, it was a struggle to survive this one.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, welcome.
We're just glad it bypassed us. That's all. You know, I'm not making light of it. I've seen the worst of the hurricane here once, and so this one compared to that, this was nothing to get panicked about. I just like for people to realize, the new people here that's never been through one, don't pay much attention to those meteorologists on TV. They make an issue of everything because the worse they can make it sound, the more people come and watch. And they're just like YouTubers. The more people to watch, they get ratings.
And it's the same as it was up north when the snowstorm was coming. They'll start the day before.
Oh yeah.
On every channel. And like I said, and it's all day and all night long until the storm is over. They're probably still on.
You guys up north know what we're talking about. 2 days before the storm hit, this could be it. This could be the big one. Make sure you go to the store, and you go to the store, everything's sold out. No, there's no milk, no water, no toilet paper. It's all sold out.
I told Mike yesterday we was good because we had wine and ice cream, and he said, "What?" He said, "Up here we get milk and bread when the storm's coming."
I did a video. I showed you guys my hurricane. What do they call it when you have your stuff together? Hurricane. Anyway, it was in preparedness kit. My preparedness kit was in the garage in the refrigerator. I showed everybody. I was ready.
Yeah. Now, of course, in the door was my water. But yeah, he's ready. Oh,
well, that's right. I remember they were talking about these storms. This could be 2 inches of ice. We could get up to 16 inches of snow. Yeah. And I'm looking at that thinking, I got to go to work that night. I'm thinking, oh my God, I'll never make it outside of town.
Yeah.
And then I actually run my run all the way over to Columbus, Ohio, all the way home. And all night long, they got the total of something like maybe 2 inches of snow. That's it, which is no big deal in Indiana, right? And then you go and turn the TV on. Bob Gregory will be on there going, well, we didn't get what they predicted. It must have moved, I was like, oh, I don't put much faith in them.
But everybody'd run out and get the bread and milk and cigarettes. And now that was something you had to have if you got snowed in. But like I said, down here, it's wine and ice cream or beer and ice cream. But yeah, my brother thought that was kind of funny. Said he'd never heard that before.
Yeah, I had my beer and ice cream. Also, what you didn't see in there's a bottle, I think, of champagne.
Oh, yeah?
Well, Phil gave you a bottle of something. I thought it was champagne. Maybe not.
Yeah, I think I drank the champagne. That was, there was a bottle of Prosecco in there.
What?
Prosecco.
I don't know what that is.
Anyhow.
I'm a beer guy.
Yeah.
These guys have all this fancy name stuff. I don't even know what that is.
Papa just quit making the hurricane cakes. Yeah, how come?
Gator, I don't know who you are, don't know what's going on, what you're posting. We don't post much religion stuff here at all. We don't really post much politics. So if you're one of them, and I'm not mad at you, I'm just saying if you're one of them that every time somebody says something, it's some politician's fault. It's Trump's fault. It's Biden's fault. You're going to get deleted. Jerry has the power. He can throw you off the channel. So, and we don't want you to get thrown off the channel. We want you to stay here and talk to all of us. We're interested in what you got to say, but you got to leave religion and politics out of it.
Aw. Okay. J.C. Commerce is going to Alaska sometime in September or October. Well, good. Like I said, I have no desire to be there when it's cold, and I got a feeling our kids is in North Dakota, and by October it's cold there. So I don't know what Alaska is, but I've seen pictures of people that was in Alaska in July, and it was kind of rainy and chilly. So that's not my cup of tea. But on a cruise ship, I might not mind because I could always go back and stay warm.
Laura says, is Duval Street the street with all the bars and restaurants? And Rizzo says, yeah, it's called a Duval crawl. So drunk, you just crawl down.
Yeah. Yeah, see, that's something that we didn't get to see.
Yeah, we went down there. They had the whole front of the restaurants were open. You could just walk in and walk out. We saw it, but we couldn't go in there. We had Maggie.
Yeah, yeah. And I said, I want to go to Mallory Square, and I did see where they were putting up. They were putting up some trees and some kind of shade for the Mallory Square area because they have people that come there and do entertainment during the day, but it's all open. And so it's very, very, this weather we've been having, that's very, very hot. And so they're putting up some kind of shade trees and maybe what they have here, like the, what do they call it? Like down at Sawgrass, they have the material that kind of makes the shade. And they said it looked like orange trees because it was orange material, but that was kind of a leap. But they're putting something up like that around Mallory Square. So
I've never been in Mallory Square.
Well, I know, and actually, I would love to do that.
Not even sure where it is. I know it's there somewhere.
Yeah, and that's what I said. We didn't really get around that much when we was down there, so we need to do that. And Mr. Rizzo, we may take advantage of your hospitality when we come down, if you're not still here. Okay.
Yeah, speaking, I seen Bill's got a thing on. Did Skirvin? He said he kind of jumped my ass last night when I was talking to him on the phone. He said that he was on here. He said when we were doing our porch setting thing, so he's not subscribed, or he'd know all this. He said that he had a comment on there, and he said we ignored him.
Oh, guys,
I told him, I said, look, sometimes we can't get to everybody.
Yeah, and sometimes, if it's questions that's been asked before or something like, or if you're talking to somebody else.
But the thing is, his name's Bill. How many Bills do we have on here? I don't know if it's him or some other Bill.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We've got a lot of Bills, so I don't know. You'd have to.
Yeah.
But I did. It had your whole name last week. I know because I seen it said Bill Skirvin.
Oh, did you see it?
Because I told you that Bill Skirvin was on. Oh. And he said, and Dawn said hi.
Oh, I probably just forgot it. My memory's like this long.
Yeah.
So she might have said something to me. I was probably rambling about something that was totally useless to talk about. And then by the time I got done with that, I forgot what she said.
Yeah, and Jerry, meatloaf is winter food. Meatloaf and chili and vegetable soup, that's all winter food.
That's a rock guy.
But, like I said, I make it anyhow. Like I said, I always made chili or vegetable soup when it rained because we'd kind of sit and watch TV and eat all day long.
Becky says she bakes bread in the winter. My grandma made bread all the time. I ate it all. I know it's not healthy, but damn, it was good. And then Mom made bread once in a while. She wasn't big on it. Sue never makes bread because you can go to the store and buy it.
I never make bread because we don't need it.
I'm telling you what, good old warm bread with some nice butter on top of it. Wow.
And we'd be constantly eating it.
I would eat it.
Yes, I know you would. I would too. Sean Meyer wants to know, where in India are you from?
All over. I was born in Anderson, Indiana. That's where my dad worked for years for Delco Remy, which is, they call it General Motors now, which all that's gone. They tore these plants down years ago and they all moved to China, and the town, it devastated that town to this day. But I went to school and lived a big part of my younger life in Pendleton, Indiana. And then we moved from Pendleton to Hartford City, Indiana, capital of Redneck of Indiana. And then from there, I worked in Fort Wayne. And then from there, we moved to Brownsburg, Indiana. Am I leaving some town out? I'm thinking there was another town in there somewhere.
I don't know.
Anyway, yeah. But I was born in Anderson, Indiana. If you look on the map, you'll see that.
Yeah.
And I still have an attachment to Anderson. Every time we go up there, we always go to Anderson. And I always go to Pendleton because there's a Pizza King next to the high school I used to go to. And so we always go in there and get a pizza. And let me just tell you, compared to all the pizzas I've had down in Florida, that's a better pizza than anything down here, in my opinion.
But everybody says that, everybody says
everybody says that. When I go home, there's nothing like a pizza from Pasquale's or whatever. But yeah, I always stop there, and I don't know. That's just what I do.
Liz Delaware says, where I live, if you want a great steak, you go to Cracker Barrel. Well, that's something I've never had at Cracker Barrel.
What?
Steak.
Steak?
Yeah. And you always get chicken.
Didn't know they even offered steak there.
I didn't either. But where he lives, I guess, said that's a great steak is to go to Cracker Barrel.
What kind of steak is that? And don't tell me sirloin. I don't eat sirloin.
Yeah, Sherry says a big pot of soup or chili or pinto beans and a big pan of cornbread makes any weather seem better.
Mom
That's
used
right.
to make that.
It
Beans
does.
and cornbread, but it
It
was all
does.
homemade. We had sweet cornbread. Grandma used to make, I don't know what you call it, but it was a white cornbread, which I understand that's traditional. I don't know, but I like the yellow cornbread.
Well, Marcia says Columbia Restaurant in Orlando is authentic Cuban food. Cuban food is not hot and spicy like Mexican. Cuban food is flavorful, lots of garlic, olive oil, and onion. If and when you go, let me know. I've been to the Columbia, and it was very, very good food. But I guess I didn't think about it being Cuban food. I went on a bus trip with a bunch of other ladies, and we went to Ybor City, and it's really unique to walk around there and see the chickens walking around. It's kind of like it is in Key West with the chickens walking around. But like to think that you're in the city and there's chickens walking around. It's kind of cool. But isn't that one of the oldest Cuban restaurants around is the Columbia.
JMG says, my friend is a TV weatherman. I always kid him that he gives the temperature at the airport. I said, who the heck lives at the airport? That's where they put everything. Even here, our temperature here is airport over at Leesburg. And the wind speed, because they got that thing that's over there at the airport. Everybody does that. I don't know why they do that, but that's what they do.
Yeah, and Cynthia, that's how I make my chili, just like the Cincinnati chili. It's made with spaghetti. When I grew up, we always used macaroni. He likes it with the spaghetti, so that's the way I fix it.
I like it with spaghetti because I started back when, what's that place up there called that had the three-way chili? They started that.
Steak and Shake.
Huh?
Steak and Shake?
Steak and Shake. When they started opening Steak and Shakes in Indiana, I'd never been to any place like that, and I didn't know what three-way was. I didn't know. So we went into one. I think that we went to one of the first ones was across the street from the Indianapolis 500-mile Speedway. They had race car drivers' pictures around the wall. Steak and Shake took over that place, and I went in there because I went to the racetrack for something, and I went in there, and I got this three-way chili, and basically they give you a pile of pasta, and that's probably the secret. I don't know what kind of pasta it was, and they took the chili itself and poured it over top of it like it would be the sauce. Yeah. And I had it there, and I really liked it.
And Laura says that's how she fixed hers.
Yeah, I like it. Sue takes a pot and makes chili, basically, a lot of juice. That's why I always call it chili soup because it's actually like a soup. It's not thick like people like most of their chili. So there's a lot of juice in there, and then she'll take the pasta and cook it and throw it in there. And so it's all mixed together.
Right. And and there's a million different ways to make chili. And I know a lot of people don't put macaroni or beans in it, but, that's not the same thing to me. But we like it. Lou Delaware says, okay, before I get moderated, I'm giving myself a timeout. What did you say? Or what was you thinking?
Diane, it's no problem. We've been doing this for 10 years now, full time. Giving out information that we know. People ask questions. We try to answer them the best we can. We can't answer all of them because we just don't know. The Villages at one time was a fairly small area. Now it's almost like a small city. And there's so much going on, so many changes are going on every day. I can't keep up with it. So we just do the best we can do.
Yeah. Oh, and that thing is called Cloudgate, the mirrored thing. Its nickname was the bean because of its shape. Because it looks like a big mirrored bean. And I'd love to see that.
I'll be waiting at the bar.
Yeah. Cliff Clavin says Gloria Esteban owns the hotel that was used in the Frank Sinatra film Hole in the Head. Well, I love that song. but I don't know if I've seen that movie.
What?
Frank Sinatra's film Hole in the Head.
I don't know.
Yeah. And I said, I am.
Laura says, I'd love to spend New Year's Eve in Key West. Well, basically it's a fairly small island, and it can get overcrowded really quick. When we were down there, we walked right up to the bell. It's kind of disappointing, really, for us. They say the most southern point. It's really not, but that's what they say. And they were repainting that bell. But we took our picture with it. I mean, we're there.
And they got tape on it, that said
Yeah.
what it was, and you couldn't really even tell what it was. We knew what it was, but
We just walked up to it with the dog and got our picture taken with it. Now, because I keep up with a little bit of what goes on, it's not unusual to go down there and stand in a long line just to get your picture, a selfie taken with that bell. That's not me. I don't stand in long lines for any. I won't stand in a long line to eat.
yeah. Cynthia says Olive Garden stinks.
I like it. I got my favorite stuff there. I haven't had everything on the menu. I can't give you an overall of Olive Garden, but over the years they've had 2 or 3 places that I really, really like. Price is fair. 2 of those plates they took off the menu. They don't sell them anymore. But now I get the chicken. I was going to say,
Scampi.
scampi. I really like that chicken scampi, the way it's made.
Yeah. John James says go to Alaska to cruise. It's worth the effort. You're not too old. We're too old to take the motorhome and go trekking up
We're
there
not
in the
too old to
wilderness.
say. The thing is, on the cruise is you're stuck on the ship. You really can't get off the ship and go do anything. You're sitting on the ship going, "Oh, look at that! Oh, look at that!" I don't want to do that. I want to go somewhere and hire an Eskimo that's got a canoe, and I want to canoe out to the glacier. I mean, I want to do stuff like that. I know on the boat they're going to say, "Well, we have stops." Those stops are bought and paid for by the company, and it's protected for just those people. And that's not what I want to do. I mean, I can do that. I will do that if I have to, but I would really rather fly into Anchorage, Alaska, rent a car, and then go cruising.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I just worried about taking the motorhome and going up into the wilderness. And I said, there isn't a AAA every 5 miles.
That's got to be timed. Everything's got to be timed.
Wow.
But the day's coming. I wanted to do the long trip. I want to be the northernmost populated point in North America, and that town is in Canada, and it's called Tuktoyaktuk. And that's as far as you can go in North America that's populated, and it's right on the Arctic Ocean. Most people that make it up there, no matter what the temperatures, the Arctic's going to be cold no matter what. There's icebergs floating around out there, for God's sake. But they'll run out there and take a dip and then run back, So I dip my toe in the Arctic. And I don't know, something about that just kind of fascinates me to do that. And I think in Alaska, though, which is the more northernest, is there a word for northernest?
No.
The northernmost populated city in United States is, I forgot the name of it. Ice road truckers do it all the time. When it freezes, they go across to Port Prudhoe Bay, whatever.
Prudhoe.
Huh?
Prudhoe.
Whatever it is up there, you'll have to look. It's easy to find. I could do that one. But no matter which one you do, you got to time it so that it's not completely thawed out, because it becomes a muddy mess. You want it where the permafrost is still in place. And gas. Like she said, there's not like a gas station on every corner up there.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I meant by too old. Now, take a cruise, no, but like I said, to take the motorhome and cruise up there, I think it was a little bit, it was, what?
It's celebrating finally having a day off of work. The last beer I got from the trip to Vermont. I don't know if I can show that or not. You see that picture? Let me see if I can get a bigger picture. Can I? Yeah, I think I can. See that picture?
Looks like you're enjoying it, wrestler.
That's WrestleMania.
Yeah. The Laura says she works for an Italian food manufacturer. Our chefs have made many Italian dishes for employees for lunch. Well, I love Italian food. Any kind of Italian food. And I know Mr. Rizzo. I know you probably. I know your wife probably cooks a heck of an Italian dinner because I've had some of her food. Everything she's brought me so far is wonderful. And it would be hard to eat that all the time. I would be 400 pounds. I really would. And he says down in the Keys, a Cuban press has ham, pork, Swiss cheese, pickles, and mustard, and is cooked in a press. And yeah, that's the way I've
Give me
always
the
done it.
ingredients again. Ham what?
Ham, pork.
Wait a minute. Ham is pork.
Yeah, but it's not a pork roast. Ham is itself. It's a piece of pork, and then there's a pork roast.
See, that's where I'm getting the textural thing. Roast has a different texture to it than ham.
Yeah.
And I've said it before. With me and food, sometimes it's a textural thing.
Yeah.
I don't like food that's too soft. I don't like food that's too hard, unless it's supposed to be hard.
Right. And then
remember we went to Universal Studios with Gene and Dick, and we went to some restaurant in Universal at that time, and we all got like the chicken dinner or something, and Gene couldn't eat it because she said it was way too tender for her. That's what I get sometimes. It's just sometimes the texture's off.
well, and Laura says the cuisine of Italy varies from region to region, and it does. I know. One part they do a lot of fish. One part they do a lot of pasta. I know that those kind of places, but that's where I'd like to go to.
I
Italy,
love good fish.
Italy and Greece. I just think they have the best food.
But fish is one of them things that you got to cook it right. If you overcook it, it's not so good. If you undercook it, it smells. Do you bake it? Do you broil it? Do you fry it? I mean, fish is a funny thing.
Oh, Marcia says she's got to go eat. So she'll talk to y'all later.
All right, man.
Everyone stay out.
Later, Gator.
And we are past that 2-hour mark.
Oh, are we? Okay, we'll end this here. Key Time of the Villages says he would look forward to hosting you guys in the Keys.
Who is that?
Says he's a member. He's in green. Key Time in the Villages.
Oh, okay.
I assume that's his YouTube channel's name. Key Time in the Village. I'll have to check that out. You have a YouTube channel there, Key Time? Just kind of curious. Kelly R. Okay, Charles isn't. Charles, what? Okay, Charles, this isn't their channel, so what's your point? I don't know. You better watch it, Charles. I don't know who you are. Kelly ain't kidding around. She'll come and get you. She'll beat you with her purse.
Yeah. I was way up there.
I'll tell you what a lot of it is there, Kelly, is, you already know. I won't say anymore. You already know what's going on. I've had this issue many times in the past, and generally what I'll do is after the show's over, I'll go back if it's somebody that I know or somebody I know what's going on, is I throw them off the channel where they can't never make a comment again. Mm-hmm. So just know that I'll go check it out.
And then Rizzo says we need to visit Hemingway House. Yeah, that's something that I do want to see. I really do want to see that. And there's a museum there, and what I'm talking about with the statues out front. And because last time I seen a picture of the cruise ship was actually parked behind this museum building, and the statue is out front. And I always wanted to see that statue.
Mindy, that's me. She said the problem with fresh homemade bread is it's so good I eat it all.
Yeah.
That's what you're supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
You're supposed to eat it.
But then like I said, neither one of us need all that bread.
Kelly says banana bread. I like banana bread. Sue used to make it because we had them in our garden all the time with zucchini bread.
Oh, yeah.
Which tastes like banana bread. I don't really taste that big of a difference in it. But I used to, she'd make zucchini bread, and by the time I went to work, it was already all gone. Okay. I eat it all.
Jerry Bell says Traveling Robert has property in Perry for his RV and had a live stream this morning until the power went out.
Perry, Florida?
Yeah. Said he had a live stream until the power went out on his camera.
I knew he bought a lot. I didn't realize it was up there. I thought it was more down toward Miami area. But Perry, Florida is one of them small little areas right there that really, if I was going to buy a lot in Florida where I could go on weekends or whatever, that's really not a bad area. It's not real close to the beach, but it's not too far from the beach. The town's got minimal things in it, gas stations, that kind of thing. I didn't realize he had one there, but Perry got hit.
Hmm.
So I don't know where his lot was at. I mean, I don't. He may, but he probably didn't have a structure on it. So even if it gets flooded, it probably ain't going to hurt him. But I don't know. His trailer might have been sitting there. His
That's what
RV.
I said. He was there and he was live streaming from there until the power went out.
I think I'd hook onto that trailer and move it. It's got wheels.
Yeah. Okay.
Banana nut bread and zucchini bread. Yeah, I'll take either one. I like them. I do. I like them.
Oh, Bill, I'm not going to ask him that because that would start an argument.
What'd Bill say?
Skip, do you ever do anything that is Sue's idea or something that she would like to do?
She does whatever she wants to do. She's gone all the time. I get up every morning and look on my phone, and on first thing on my phone, every single day it says Sue arrived home. So I know she's been gone.
Yeah, because I don't sit there and watch you sleep. Ray Prokowski says in Jersey there's an alligator in a pond. They are going crazy looking for it.
In Jersey?
One cop shot at it. It's only 4 foot.
Are we talking about the state of New Jersey?
Well, it just says Jersey.
Well, then that was somebody's pet.
Yeah.
Guarantee it. They don't migrate up that far north.
Yeah.
Somebody had a pet, and that's what happens here. And it's a bad thing to do. But I kind of understand why they got a pet. They don't want to kill. They don't want to hurt it. Blah blah blah. It's too big. I can't take care of it. I'm just going to turn it loose. Well, and that's what happened. Well, I won't say that's exactly what happened, but that's what happens here in some of our ponds. They got these goldfish for the grandkids. The grandkids don't live here. They can't live here legally full time. Well, when the grandkids goes back up north, grandma or grandpa decides, I don't want this thing anymore. The goldfish stink, and I just don't want it anymore. There's a pond out there. They just take it out to the pond and dump it in. Well, eventually the goldfish are probably going to die for one reason or another. But what happens is they have these plants in their aquarium that the fish eat off of. And you can buy these plants at any pet store. Those plants don't die. They live it. Matter of fact, they love this water. And they take off like crazy. And that's why we hire companies to come in here and treat our ponds to kill all of this stuff that's growing in the ponds because of things like that. That's an invasive species. Invasive species ain't just the animals. It's plants and the stuff. Well, anyway. So you got to be very careful about what you turn loose. Bamboo's another one. I had clumping bamboo, which I don't recommend that either. I learned something about that, but it doesn't spread. People say, well, bamboo spread. Not all bamboo spreads, but if you get what they call running bamboo, good Lord, don't plant that in your yard. Seriously, I mean, you'll have a problem.
Yeah. Oh, Diane Munchausen.
Ronnie says we should try gumbo. We've had gumbo 100 different ways, and our favorite gumbo by far was Red Lobster's.
Yeah.
And they quit making it.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, when we went last time went to Texas, we stopped at the Louisiana Welcome Center, and they have a cookbook in there that has a recipe for gumbo, and it's the original gumbo, and it is the best that I've found. It really, really is. I don't make it a whole lot, but every once in a while I make it. And like I said, that recipe book's got a lot of recipes in it, different kinds. And I said, but the gumbo was really good. And then they've got, we stopped at Cracker Barrel once, and I got a mix that was in a bag that you make gumbo, and it was very, very good. So far, everything I've found on the store shelves, like the Zatarans, and there's another one that makes the gumbo mix. They're good. They're close, but just not the same. But like that little recipe book that they gave me there at the Welcome Center, it has a really good recipe in there. And yeah,
Louis D.E. Our Active Retirement. I'm assuming that's the name of a YouTube channel too.
Probably.
So Rock and Rollers and other music groups spend a lot of time at the square promoting their cruises. Yeah, there's cruises all over the place down here. Like she said, Scooters got them. Rockies and Rollers have them. I mean, they all do it. I'm not going to do it. It's just too much work. They do it beta because if you sell so many rooms to sign up, what the cruise does eventually is they give you the cruise for free. So if I was to sell,
small amount,
or a very small amount, depending, I think. But if they give you 100 rooms, actually, I don't know how that works. I don't know if I got to buy them and then sell them back. I don't know. But anyway, 100 rooms, I fill them up. The cruise, it's not unusual for the cruise to say, your room and experience is for free for doing that. That's how they pay you back for selling the rooms. And I'm just not interested in doing that. And this is probably one of the reasons why my channel will never grow to where I want it to be, because I'm not going to do all that kind of stuff. I mean, I got 4 channels that I put videos on, and this is a full-time job for me now that I'd like to dwindle down a little bit. But because no matter what I do, I always have it in my mind, I want to be able to do it if I'm not here. And some of the things that we're doing now, I can't do it unless I am here. So I want to make some changes. I don't know which way we're going to go yet, or I'll just simply say, we're taking off. I'm not going to post any videos on this channel anymore for the next 4 weeks. And I could do it that way too. I don't like doing it that way. That's how you lose subscribers, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah, and our main claim to fame is we've just lasted so long. We've outlasted most of them. Everybody coming down here wants to start a YouTube channel, and I said we've outlasted most of them because
it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, and and some people still are young enough to do a lot of outdoor things that we don't do anymore. And so you get to where you want to go do something. You won't want to sit here and talk on the computer.
Cindy says, in Pittsburgh, we are searching for our second alligator of the season. It's got to be people's pets. Has to be. They flushed them down the toilet. They're getting out.
Yeah. Oh, Sean Myers says, love Pizza King. He's from Elwood. Several of my relatives worked at Guide Lamp and Decorimi. So we live in East Texas and considering moving to the Villages.
Yeah, so you remember what Anderson was like during the heyday of the factories there. We went through our Anderson area a few years ago. If you haven't been up there, I almost got lost because I went down 67. I was heading down to the Anderson Speedways where I was heading, and I wasn't sure where I was at. I thought I made a wrong turn. The Guide Lamp is gone.
Yeah, the building was gone.
Everything's gone. Parking lot's gone. It's all gone, and that is a landmark. And when I didn't see it, I thought I was on the. But there we are. So anyway, when I didn't see it, that was our 2-hour mark. So we're going to get out of here. I wasn't sure where I was even at. Del Carimi's gone. The commercial buildings over there on Scatterfield Road are all gone. Every one of them's gone. They're just not even there.
Yeah.
And now the town's depending on. I don't even know. They got a Nestle's plant where they're not paying the salaries. They don't have any pension plans. And this generation is going to lose a lot. They don't even know what they lost because they never had it. And I always say, you don't know what you're missing if you've never had it.
And we love Pizza King, too. We go to the one in Pendleton every time we go up there, and it's pretty good. Used to be Arts, and I said there is no more Arts, but Pizza King's a good second.
Pizza King's a good second, and so I guarantee
you won't find any here in Florida.
when I go up there this year, you'll find me at that Pizza King next to the Pendleton High School. That's where I will be.
Yeah.
So anyway, thanks for coming. Thanks, moderators. Appreciate all your time. Enjoy your day off, wrestler.
Bye, y'all. See you on the other side.